Thanks, everyone. I saw the unmute sign right there. I changed my microphone cord and turned things around prior to this, so it's actually really good that you guys missed the first part of everything, because it wouldn't have made sense at all. And so I'm gonna wait until everyone says the sound works. We made some minor modifications prior to beginning this live stream today that seem to have caused a little bit of a technological Okay, there we go. I see somebody there says yay. All right, cool. Anyway, all right, yeah. Thank you for telling me that. I would have just gone on and on and on. And you guys know sometimes like I'll just like zone out on the chat and I'll just be like in a weird rant. And so anyway, like I was saying, we made a few technological changes today. But anyway, like I was trying to say earlier, for those of you guys that could read my lips, you could tell I was cussing wildly, saying all kinds of horrible things. Not really though. What? So I was saying, yeah, this is a rare day off for me nowadays. I think last year I had maybe a handful of days in the entire year where I didn't do anything at all, which was a very strange thing. And this year it's kind of evening out a little. It's evening out a little bit so far, and so. But I'm kind of weird. Like when I have a day off and I don't have anyone to see or anything to do, I get super weird, and I'm like, what do I do? I don't know. And so we decided we're going to do a little bit of a live stream today because we have some cool things coming up in the world, which we're going to be talking about. But in the meantime, we're going to synchronize our little environment here. My little Palo Santo thing's going out. But anyway, come on in. Hello. Thank you for being here. Good to see a few people rolling into this strange realm. We got Moments of Truth with Julie. Good to see your face over there. How's it going? Kimberly Rupp. LVC 73. Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Soul Schooling. Very, very cool. Humming Dragonfly. Good to see you. Momtendo CS. Whoa. Okay, cool. Deciphering My Experience. Hello, hello. Can I get a reading? Yeah, totally. We are going to be doing some readings. I guess the awkward part or the fun part or the annoying part is that I usually have to go through some long-winded, series of ranting and all kinds of randomness before we get to that point, but we're definitely getting there. Oh, and hello from Alaska. Hello. We're gonna, there's one of those. I guess here we go. We just opened the door into the world of weird. One of the things that's been talked about recently through some of the more higher positioned UFO bloggers and other people that are watching the world of what we could call multidimensionality or some aspect of the disclosure world. People have been talking about these supposed arc ships that are, sort of reactivating all over the world. And actually, we'll get to that a little bit later because that's a long rant. But I believe that is true. But I think they've been activated for a very long time, and I think that we're just now coming into the stage in which we're able to perceive it. But the reason why I went into that is because somebody mentioned Alaska already, and actually, there's a huge kind of underwater structure that a lot of people believe is one of those kind of arc ships right off. I believe it's off the coast of Alaska. I could probably draw a picture if I had Google Earth, but unfortunately, I'm horrible at screen sharing on StreamYard. But there's a very wild, intangible frequency that's being broadcasted from a number of places on Earth right now. That for those of us that are practicing the natural human ability of remote viewing, you're going to be able to find them, you're going to be able to perceive them, and you're going to be able to find your own information and your own truth about the things that are being dictated to you by other people, which, some of it's true, some of it's not. It's not like I'm the arbiter of such things, not like I would know, but sometimes I get a little bit worried about the kind of agendas that I hear some people kind of coming out with and the way they'll continue to pull a story along. It's a little bit weird. But anyway, thank you for being here. And so Chills Bigley, this will be a great show. Good to see you, Miss Liz. How's it going? Sebro, nice, cool. Soul Schooling says agreed about ability to perceive. Yeah, totally. It's like as certain, I don't know, I guess we could call them veils, but it's not really a veil. It's like our collective consciousness is tuning to a little bit of a different radio station right now, and some people have it tuned in very well. Some people are getting there, but everyone is on their way toward whatever that that sort of massive shift of consciousnesses. And for some people, it's going to be kind of a negative control structure version of consciousness, but it's definitely expanding, as are our psychic abilities, which really is kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to do the live stream today. Number one, because we are entering tarot season. I guess it's a season. I just decided that right now in this literal moment, we're entering tarot season, you guys, or to be more specific, multidimensional tarot season. And for the third year in a row, we're doing a pretty cool class. It's called the Art of Multidimensional Tarot and Energy Healing. And it was actually well, I guess it wasn't the very first class I ever did, but I think it was maybe the second class that I did. But anyway, we've done it for 3 years in a row, and we're back once again. And so we're here today to kind of demonstrate the art of multidimensional tarot and to continue to model a frequency of just intuitive activation. For those of you guys that somehow seem to stumble into this strange channel, some of us regularly, some of you guys just somehow clicked on it. It showed up on your YouTube screen and you're like, what the hell is this? Oh God. All right. You'll click on it anyway, but it's no mistake. We are drawn toward people. We are drawn toward communities. We're drawn towards situations and events that will have some form of an effect on our consciousness. At this stage of the journey on Earth, very few things, if anything, happens by mistake. And so if you're one of the people that has found this channel, it's probably because you are on a path, whether you know it or don't know it, to developing your own intuitive abilities on just a greater level, just a whole different level, which is absolutely possible. And so one of the things I used to do it, I guess, a lot more like in the past couple of years. I would do a lot more live streams and we would just do readings endlessly, and it's been really fun. Lately we haven't been doing as much, but it's still a thing that I do every single day. Private sessions are literally the heart of what I do on a daily basis. And so multidimensional tarot for me was, a lot of you guys heard me say this before, so this will be really, really old news for some of you guys. You'll be like, here he goes with the same old story again. But I had not ever even touched a tarot card, I think, until 2012. And it was just kind of given to me by my ex-wife's grandma at the time. I was kind of going through the early stage awakening journey. Strangely enough, you guys, check it out. December of 2012, and I was out in Oregon with my ex-wife at the time, and I was going through major, at that stage of my life, it felt like I was going through that sort of awakening journey that I went through in 2015. It was like it sort of tried to come out in this weird way in December of 2012, and I was kind of tuned into the whole December 21st thing. I didn't really know what it was about at the time, but I was sort of watching it, and it was interesting, and it was cool, but it didn't really hit me that it had anything to do with me. I thought I was going through some sort of a strange, I thought I was losing my mind. And December of 2012 was a really weird time for me. Many things stopped working in my life. I came to a weird identity crisis stage. And lo and behold, I ended up out in Oregon with my ex-wife we were still married at that time, but we went out to visit her family that year. And her grandma just randomly handed me a deck of tarot cards and made some kind of joke about it. And I was like, whoa, cool. And, because I was raised in a very religious family. I was taught, from early on in my life, and a lot of you guys have also heard me talk about this as well, but I was just taught that it was not good, that it was, these were, tools of evil, or, something like that. I'm searching for a different term there that's more commonly used, but so, I was told I had a negative idea about it. And I remember kind of looking at them that first couple week, or that sort of night that I got them. And I would just sit there and like look at all the images. And I was like, whoa, I was both mystified by them and I was a little bit scared, but I was also drawn to it in a really interesting way. And so I'll get through this story pretty quickly. We're not going to dwell on it too long, but lo and behold, I started to do readings for myself. And at the time in 2012, and I guess it was really 2013, it wasn't like I was doing real readings, you guys. I would pull like 1 or 2 or 3 cards, and I would just kind of, look up the meanings on, online, and I would kind of, read various, versions of it. But that's really as far as it went. But it was something that I kind of regularly did, and I would be on my little break at, work, and I would just be sitting there like doing my thing and, pulling out a few cards. And after a little while, some of the people that I was working at a treatment center at the time for veterans down in San Diego, California. It's amazing that I could say that city name. I have a weird stutter, as a lot of you guys have noticed, and certain words are really hard for me to say. But down in San Diego, California, there it goes, boom. Um, and people in the office started getting interested in it, or they saw me with cards. I remember, and people, kind of asked me about it. And I remember fumbling through awkwardly trying to give a couple people a reading, and it was really, like, for real, you guys, I copied and pasted some stuff from some tarot websites at the time. I was just trying to get the meanings of it, and I would just give them like the here we go, definitions. Whoa, there we go. And so it really wasn't a thing that I was super invested in. And so right around toward the end of 2013, strangely enough, I think around October 2013, I was just going through stuff in our marriage. I was going through stuff in my life. I think I was in that sort of pre-awakening journey that a lot of people start losing it. And I see somebody in there, Troy Stengel says, I got divorced in 2012. I feel you. And you were losing your mind. There you go. And then we see Moments of Truth with Julie. Mine was really about 2011. Okay, so we were all kind of we were going through some weird stuff around that little chapter of our journey. And so I was just on this path to destroy stuff in my life at that time, not really realizing that's what I was doing. But I ended up making a series of decisions through tarot. Just kind of like consulting, with spirit, and I did exactly what I was told not to do. I did the literal opposite of what it told me to do. And even in the process of doing that, the disaster that the cards spelled out for me at that stage of my life, which I completely ignored, were far, far worse than I could have possibly imagined. I mean, it just got so bad and so embarrassing and so difficult and so toxic in, in like 2013. Everyone out there has had a weird stage where you look back on the years and you're like, oh God. Huh. But it kind of made me what I am today. But that was one of my first experiences in like going through that crazy stuff in 2013, where I remember looking back on it, months later, and I was like, whoa, every single thing that was in that weird reading that I did for myself on Friday afternoon before I got in the car with so-and-so, you know what I mean? Every single thing that they said was going to go wrong went wrong. And it freaked me out. I didn't really mess with it for a while. I kind of stopped. I just put it away and like went on my life. And honestly, to tell you the truth, you guys been to a bunch of therapy and all kinds of stuff, and things really stabilized. And I didn't really mess with them hardly at all for like a while. I kind of still would pull cards here and there and just look up the meanings online. But lo and behold, 2015 showed up. And everyone's heard this story, but I had a massive crown chakra opening that fundamentally altered the path of my life. And so, right around a few years after that, in 2016, I met the person who literally programmed me in a weird, I shouldn't say program, she activated something within me. And here we are several years later, and now we're teaching this literal thing that I was afraid to pick up, that spelled disaster in my life, that I fumbled through readings, here and there. And it was like when the time came for me to begin, stepping into this strange role that I have now, it was like a switch turned on my world, and every single thing changed. And I know sometimes people hear you talk about that and they're like, yeah, everything changed, but no, everything in my life changed. Like, you name it, we went into a whole new timeline, different, pretty much a different body, different roles, different city, different lifestyle, different everything. When I made the choice to kind of, switch into this, role that I have now, I mean, it just fundamentally redefined the path of my life. And so it taught me that it was something that was in alignment with what I was supposed to do and what I was meant to be. And so, here we are a few years later, and, like I just said, we are teaching this thing now. And so beginning on May 22nd of this year, we're starting the Art of Multidimensional Tarot and Energy Reading Part 3. And so it's a little bit different than the second year, although really what we're really doing, you guys, in this class, and even if you don't care about anything about tarot classes, and maybe you're already a reader and you're doing it in your own way, but one of the ways that I have found to sort of take ownership over the frequency of tarot and to use it in my own way was, number one, I use it more as a diagnostic medium. I sort of, I use it more to look at layers of energy in the context of an energy clearing, things like chakras, our meridians, organs, and also, like relationship stuff. And, what we could call, this is a cheesy phrase I like to use, the banalities of third density life, just like the boringness and like the regularness of it all. It's also very helpful for that. But I would like to think that, while it's such a well established, form of divination on the earth plane, everyone has their own flavor, everyone has their own version of it. And the way that I think it really sunk in for me was that I created what I would call like a relationship pretty much with all of the cards, which is the reason why, for those that, I'm going to hold it up now, for those of you guys that are trying to learn tarot, for those of you guys that are kind of learning in your own way to develop your intuitive abilities, I would recommend getting the Robin Wood Tarot. This was the one that was shown to me. This was one of the earliest decks that was given to me. And the reason why I continue to use it to this day is because when I started to pick this up, and I see moments of truth with Julie down there. Yeah, totally. Britain. Absolutely. She's still out there somewhere. I don't know where she is. I hope she's still out there. But, the reason why I use the Robin Wood Tarot is because it's incredibly helpful for those of you that are learning. And even if you do not know the meanings, even if you don't know the meanings of the cards, it allows you to sort of create a relationship and to create your own symbolism, to look at the intricacy of the artwork. And it's very similar to Rider Wright with a few little twists here and there. The cool thing that I liked about Robin Wood is that she created kind of a unique scene for all of the major and minor arcana, just in a little bit of her own way. And she added a lot of symbolism that I think when I picked up the Robin Wood Tarot deck, it was something that I was able to look at it and go, what does this card actually mean? I will give, maybe I'll give you an example by showing you guys probably my favorite card in the world of tarot, which is the Six of Swords. And so a lot of other decks have a very different Six of Swords, but the Six of Swords in Robin Wood, just the symbolism of it alone tells you so much. And, before we go too far down this road, this is the number one faith card in the world of tarot. It tells you to push ahead. It says that you're on a journey, that you have many tools, and that spirit or a guide or a power outside of you, or even higher than you, I guess we could say, is assisting you on the journey. And it usually just helps you keep the faith and continue to push ahead. But anyway, getting back to Robin Wood Tarot, it was incredibly helpful for me because in looking at her symbolism, I was able to figure out and kind of create a character with each one of the cards. And I would say the more you can continue to do that and create sort of like a character and a story, start to identify them like people in your family or people that you see on the street or people that you'll see on television or, whatever, YouTube, it'll help you just have a completely different layer of understanding. And so check out Robin Wood Tarot. But anyway, I see a bunch of really cool comments. Jeremy Burr says, boom, there we go. I'm at the stage where I just know I want to angle my life toward doing this all the time. I feel the desire to serve. Man, I feel you on that. And I have to be real. That's very much where I was in 2016. I remember starting in 2015. I started going to conferences like Conscious Life Expo and Mount Shasta. There was a couple conferences that were going on out there. I think another big one that I went, Contact in the Desert. That was another one back in the old days when it was something cool. And I remember it was like I was burning inside. Like literally, it was like this fire was like engulfing me internally. And I had this absolute burning desire to be of service, to be a part of a thing, or to be doing something that I could not understand. I did not have any idea what it was, but I kept getting drawn to certain people, to certain places, to certain concepts, to certain things over and over and over again. And I think, for a lot of us that go through a big timeline shift in this life, there's certain things that you will just start to know. You will just know. You will look at, whether it be tarot and you'll look at the symbolism of it, whether it be the energy of people's eyes. A lot of you guys have heard me talk about that one. If you're trying to unlock your own innate telepathic abilities, start talking to people's left eye. Start looking in their left eye when they talk to you. Send another message or an emotion underneath. It's kind of embarrassing how much I do that. I probably shouldn't say, but yeah, you can sort of send out a sort of multi-dimensional internal slideshow with your words. I think it's one of the reasons why, some people will hang out in here, because you guys will pick up the sort of frequency and it'll take you into your own life. And it's kind of evidenced by the stuff in the chat as well. It'll take you into those moments within your own life and construct sort of meaning and the message through your own internal experiences. And also the energy that's coming in from another person, which is literally how telepathy works. And there's many different versions of it. Telepathy is kind of like a catch-all term for sort of non-physical communication. There's many different forms. And so anyway, before I get on before we go too far off of the track, I definitely feel you on that desire to serve. But anyway, so yeah, it's coming up on May 22nd, and we're gonna be doing some readings. And so yeah, thank you. Thanks for showing up. Let me know if you guys have any questions so far. I'm gonna kind of go through the comments really quick, because otherwise I'll just kind of talk at you forever. I'll just talk at you forever. And so, oh yeah, Miss Liz got divorced in 2012. I probably should have got, or maybe 2013, Liz. I probably should have got divorced in 2013. Leyland says, I had an energetic shift in 2012. Totally, 2012 crew. Boom, so fast. You know what I mean? For real. That was a very, very crazy time in all of our lives. And it's wild because I was so not tuned in to spirituality. I was very much in the nuts and bolts UFO scene at that time. I was very much into like the ancient aliens, you know what I mean? I was all about ancient aliens and like, physical crafts, and it really wasn't in the sort of, it was definitely in a very, very different vibration than where we are now. And so we got a question. So Soul Schooling says, how do we sign up for the class? You can go to rememberyourmission.com. And you can click on the part. Actually, I think it's like announcement on the front now. You guys, I sort of did a little mini update. I did a mini update on our website like a week or so ago, and I just did a horrible job. It's like everything got all weird and out of whack. And Wix is a really simple website, generation thing, but I kind of screwed it up. So it's functional now. It's definitely functional now. I think it still looks weird on mobile. I don't know why. I'm definitely not a web designer, guys, But anyway, yeah, you can go to rememberyourmission.com, and yeah, you can sign up. You can sign up there. And we're going to be doing some other tarot stuff over the coming months as well, but yeah. Leyland says, I'm sensitive to looking into people's eyes. Oh, totally. This is a real thing. Literally start seeing visions and feeling a flood of their own memories or lifetime energies. Absolutely, 100%. That is a real thing. That is a literal human ability that every single person has. Some of us have it in an incredible ways, kind of like how some people can just pick up an instrument and they're like, I know how to play this thing. Other people will have to learn. Some people are incredibly good at math. Others are very good at other things. Some people are really good at reading non-physical energy. I often wonder what would have happened to me at another stage of my life if there was a system in place in the infrastructure of our world to identify those people. But yeah, man, I really feel you on that. That was a big one for me. I think like when I was a kid, for me, it was a lot of things with actually it's still smell. I mean, it's not even a physical smell. It's like I'll take a breath of a certain type of energy, and boom, inside that is experiences, memories, somebody getting something out of their kitchen fridge at 3 a.m, somebody in the back seat of their car. It's like you'll go through this strange journey. And I guess the cool thing is for those of us that are wondering like how do we unlock that on a greater level, the more you know yourself, the more you know your energy, the more you know your memories, the more you know your emotional biases, the more you know your triggers, the more you know what you really love, what you really hate, all of those things about yourself. Knowledge of self, the greater the knowledge of self, the more you will be able to understand what's yours and what's theirs. It'll help you also greatly understand when the human mind starts to create a representation of that energy, which is another thing that also happens. It's a little bit different than I would say the telepathic communication process. It's more of where you will have a representative experience within your body and your life, and that will be shown to you to help you understand what's happening with the other person or what's happening in an environment. That's another version of it as well. But But yeah, the more we know ourselves, the greater it's going to be, or the easier to which we're going to be able to read other energies in the world. And, granted, there's also a lot more than that, because there's a lot of people out there with tremendous knowledge of self that are in a very grounded place that also might not necessarily be using these skills. I think, though, for those that are attracted to it, for those that might be watching this channel, it's probably a fact that at this or an earlier stage of your life or later on in your life, you're going to come to a moment or an experience where you will have to use those skills. You'll have to sort of, move forward, or, move, or rather act on intuition alone. I think that we're going to be having a lot more of those moments in our life as we go through the events in the coming, who knows, we could even say this year. But it does look like we have some very pivotal world changing events that are being planned. They're being torn down, they're being put back together. It looks like we have a number of new contagions. I'll call it contagions so we don't ping like the AI too much. But there's a whole new round of what we could call, yeah, I'll call them biological, no, cheesy use of terms, biological concerns coming up, you guys, just like the one we dealt with for the last couple of years. I don't know if anybody saw this, and for the record, we're on a totally weird meandering rant here, but I don't know if anyone saw this, but they just announced that now there's suddenly, get this, you guys, suddenly we're in the worst avian flu outbreak since 2015. And that's the reason why, eggs and chicken are going up, or like whatever it is. I happened to see that as I was scrolling through earlier. And it's like every single week they're introducing a new thing. The reason why this is like this is because of that. And the reason why this over here costs so much is because of this. Or, I'll just say it, Russia. I'll try not to say it too many times so we don't get negative attention, but it's a real thing. And so anyway, the more we know ourselves, the more we're going to be able to look at in moments like that, or scroll through your phone and look at some announcement about some avian flu outbreak, and you will know unequivocally that it's bullshit. And sure, it doesn't mean that there's not a flu. It doesn't mean that it's not happening. But the understanding of the ways and means and the way those things come about in our world, you'll begin to understand that they're manufactured. And sure, you might not know the reasons why or the exact methods, but you'll start to understand on a greater level what is real and what is not real. And so anyway, watch out. I will keep going and going and going. Oh, we got a question. Hello, Deciphering My Experience. He says, do you think the tag/gate programs may have actually been skills building for special kids, remote viewing, knowing, etc.? I believe they were. I know that myself, you maybe heard me talk about this on something else, and I know a couple other people that also had really weird experiences within the sort of tag or gate program. I think it's absolutely possible. I think it's probable. I think that in some cases, depending on where you were or what was going on, or maybe geographically or just who was around, that it could have been something way bigger. I could tell you what, I had some weird experiences at that stage of my life where part of one school program that I was in, they literally took me in some vehicle and we went to go play violin somewhere, which was weird because I was the only one that went in to play violin with these Asian people. And I remember just crying and crying and crying, weird stuff like that, where, they would, I remember specifically there was one person that we actually had to drive to their office. I think both me and my middle sister went there, and it was like some layer of testing from our school. And they did this thing where they would show us, or they showed me, I don't know if they showed my sister, but they showed us all these pictures of animals and people and scenes. And they asked me to describe like the color that was on a black and white photo. They asked me to tell them about the feeling of the animals. They asked me to tell them about what I remember. One of the weirdest ones was, what did he have for breakfast? And as far as I can tell, it was like an elephant, but it was not this sort of childlike, therapy thing. It was so weird. Anyway, watch out. I'll go on a very, very long rant about it. But I think that, yeah, part of it could be a skills building thing. I think part of it was profiling. I think part of it was probably a bunch of smart kids just doing reasonably well in school, and that was just their experience. Maybe it wasn't all entirely a nefarious thing, but whatever it was, I did not last in it for very long. But I also have to be real. At that stage of my life, we immediately went into homeschool. And I don't really know why. I'm not too close with my family, so I don't really know what the reasons were behind that. But we from first to third grade, we went to regular school. And then I think fourth and fifth grade, I was in homeschool. And so I got pulled out of the school system for a while. And who knows, maybe that had an effect on, me or something, or, something like that. But yeah, I definitely believe that it's a multi-layered thing. I think recently we had a guy come in that had organically had similar experiences where people had come into his, I think it was gate or something class, and they just took him in an office and they just sat there and stared at him, or just weird stuff to try to like elicit reactions from kids, or who knows what it was. It's always a sort of a dicey thing to talk about, going back there. But anyway, absolutely. Thank you. Miss Liz says, being the only one in a gifted program is so weird. I remember the feeling. Well, yeah, totally. See, not so much about the content, right? Do any of us know what we did in those things? I don't remember what it was. I do remember having to go play the violin. And it was like, I just cried. I remember just crying and crying. I don't know why or what it was, but I just cried. And I think that might have been right before we went to homeschool. I don't know what it was about. You never know. I don't know. Here, look, we got a lot of people that were in there. Sebro, I also do not recall. Totally homeschool. Dana Blazing, what's up? She was in homeschool. Why did we go to homeschool? Not that it was a bad experience, but I think for me it like socially kind of warped me in a strange way. But anyway, it's definitely a very strange thing. And so yeah, there's all kinds of wild stuff happening on the earth plane. One of those might be more contagions. I think another one is not so much what we would call the sort of live fire war scenario. I think that kind of has been squashed for just reasons of self-preservation. On the earth plane, although you never know, watch, it'll break out tomorrow. But I think more of a divisive conflict that will be drawn out for a period of time in order to fundamentally destabilize governments that are weaker, or sort of, agencies within, state governments that are, it's part of this restructuring. And I guess we could call it the Great Reset, which is a very toxic and sad thing that's happening. But I think we're going to see a lot more of it. It's going to continue, which I guess I will say that, in my opinion, or if you want to call it a prediction, I do not see a quick end to the round of world conflict that is currently taking place. In fact, what I see is much more of what we would call a Hollywoodization of the rounds of conflict on the earth plane, almost like television shows that we sort of root for, that we tune into every day. I mean, it's already become that in its own way, but totally. Anyway, let me know if you guys have any questions. We're gonna do some readings in a moment here. Thanks, Jeremy Burr. It feels like people in our family are lined up with issues, knocking on our door because they can sense we are able to release the emotions they are trapped in. Actually, probably. Thank you. I don't know the context through which your comment was made, but yeah, I definitely believe you. Cool. Troy Stengel said, I've met people that had weird experiences in gate. MGM, mentally gifted minors. Nice. Totally. I was absent when they did the testing and was left alone in the classroom when they went out. Maybe that's a good thing, Troy. Who knows? It probably is. I think I got passed up for a lot of stuff as well, probably because I went to homeschool or weird stuff like that. Maybe it was a safety thing on the timeline. Who knows? Who knows how that works out. But anyway, before we go on too long of a rant, I will just say it for those of you guys that are interested in taking part in probably the coolest event so far that's coming up this year. Not that I'm going to be at any others, because I'll just be real. You know what I mean? People are not jumping to have me on at their events, but we're going to be at the Secret Space Conference coming up just a few weeks, May 2nd through 5th in Grafton, Illinois. A lot of you guys have already heard about it. You've heard me rant about it on every single live stream that we do. But I think they just announced that they're doing day passes. So if you're one of the people that's local to the area down there, you can come by and hang out for just a day and be a part of whatever's going on. And so I'm very, very much looking forward to it. We have been getting some requests for booking there to do sessions with me and Nora while we're there. And we are going to be definitely doing live sessions. That's the only place where we do in-person sessions, is if we go to events. Otherwise, everything else is over Zoom. which is both, I think, kind of better and also different when you do it on Zoom. When you want to have a deeper experience, I think it's much, much better to be within your own space. Some people get weird about the technology, but I have never had any real complaints from it whatsoever, which is weird because we've done thousands. But anyway, we're going to be at the Secret Space Conference, and we're going to be doing live sessions there. And so the whole thing is, we do not have a pre-booking thing set up for that. It's just going to be, there's going to be a sign up sheet at the conference. And for people that roll through, you can just sign up. We'll be doing several readings there during the day. And we're bringing the Spooky 2 Generator X portable. It's sort of portable Rife machine generator. And so for those of you guys that have been curious about, what is Rife, how does it work, what does it feel like, you can actually get a shorter Rife treatment there at the conference. We are definitely bringing it, definitely setting up. We have both the remote version, which just broadcasts the signal out, which is very cool. And we also have the ones with 10 pads, where you stick them on your body. We have those. And we also have the rods, although the rods are kind of unnecessary, I think, if you have the pads. And so for those of you guys that are going to be at the Secret Space Conference, we're going to be doing Rife treatments as well, which is a very cool thing. I wanted to bring it to another conference that we did last year, but it just was not practical. But we're definitely doing it. And it's going to be very, very cool for those of you guys that have not experienced it. What I'm doing is setting up, I think, a few protocols that will allow people to kind of, hopefully, because some people receive Rife really, really easily and they get an instant effect. Other people will have to go through some much more of a dedicated detox process. And so I think what I've seen is that it affects people a little bit differently based on just what's going on with you, based on your symptomology, based on your own energy. But I'm putting together a few protocols that hopefully are going to be helping people raise their energy levels, balance chakra and meridian stuff in the body, but really just kind of generalized clearing and mood elevating, which, believe it or not, is absolutely possible using Rife technology. Like I said, doesn't always work amazingly well. You might have to go through a detox. So for some people, because this was kind of one of the big things that we use within the training program, which is just about done. It's kind of wrapping up at the moment. But what we found out was that some people using the remote Rife treatment will feel it instantly. It's like you'll turn it on and you'll instantly receive it, and you can tell something's going on. Other people, you'll turn it on and it's like, is it even working? I don't know. And so why is that? Why does it affect some people so distinctly and other people's differently? I think that's where the detox aspects and your own energy comes in. But I have a feeling it's going to be pretty cool. So we're going to be bringing that. But yeah, you can sign up on site there at the conference. And so I saw someone roll through. They said, my boyfriend. Yeah, there it is. My boyfriend's uncle passed this morning. I'm terribly sorry, sir. Honestly, we pray for, just pray for him as he passes on into the next realm, into the next world. Just pray for the family and their grief. And I say that very, very sincerely. As humans, we all react to death very, very differently. For some of us, it is a great tragedy, with lots of sadness. For others, it's a celebration. And, I pray that it is a celebration for him as he moves on. But yeah, thank you. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks, Mom Tendo CS. I love weird screen names. So thanks. Be kind or buzz off. Do you know what they chose, or do you know why they chose that geographic location for the conference? I do not know specifically. I recall Tyler saying that they wanted to do one in the Midwest because the Midwest doesn't have conferences. That might be the reason why, or maybe there's another reason. But I did look at the photos of it and watch the video that they took of it. And just seeing the photos and the video, I was like, whoa, damn. Okay, this definitely looks cool. And so, yeah, I guess I don't really know the real reason why, but we're gonna be driving up there in just a few weeks, which we are. We're driving from Florida. We're driving from Florida all the way up to Illinois. But I guess it's not a big deal because we drove cross country in August, and I guess I'm a driver. Who knew it? I guess that's just how it goes. So we're gonna be driving up there, which is crazy with gas, right? You guys, it's crazy, right? Why would you drive 14 hours, with gas prices the way they are? Well, first off, I have a really gas efficient vehicle. But secondly, if you haven't noticed, plane tickets suddenly went up to like $600 and $700 a pop. What kind of, makes you wonder what's really going on. Seriously though, I was looking at tickets to fly out there, and like one was like, yeah, it was just crazy. Like you could just drive there for even less, even with gas prices. You could actually drive there for cheaper if you have a fuel efficient vehicle. What is a fuel efficient vehicle? I don't even know, but yeah, thank you, thank you. Thanks for hanging out, Angeline Sunrise. I'm sorry for your grandmother. Thank you for bringing that energy in here. For all those of you that have people that are passing right now in this world, um, this is kind of the time period, you guys, where there are going to be a number of people checking out. We're at the stage of the journey, and there's chapters during the year where people whose kind of souls and their team have made the decision, they're going to be pulling out and they're going to be moving on to another stage. And so yeah, thank you, thanks for bringing that energy in here. Yeah, sorry about your loss, but Sarah Ohm says driving is better than flying. Actually, you know what, Sarah? I totally agree. Even though long distance drives, it gets weird and it gets old and uncomfortable at times. Honestly, it makes sense for me because I don't think I could do another plane and the mask situation. It was so toxic and so negative, and I guess I'm bringing a bunch of stuff this time, so we're gonna do the drive. We got a question about reads. We talk about maybe read into the Atlantis fault itself, how we can balance that side with our now selves. There's a lot of heavy energy. You know what there is? I think that we are, and pretty much everyone that's watching this channel is going to know this, but we are living through another version of what we would call the fall of Atlantis. We are revisiting many of the themes and the sort of cyclical events and the decision, or what we would call timeline choice points, as we went through during that cycle of our existence. And so, in my opinion, or rather what I have seen of my own journey, was that the last time we went through this great shift, I was definitely on the other side of it. I was definitely on what we would call the control structure side, what we might call we could call it the darker side, perhaps, if you want to use that term. But I was on definitely the other side from where we are now. And I think that's how it is for a lot of us. We will kind of come back and we get to have all of these experiences all over again and make different choices and sort of different decisions for the time for just the multidimensional collective. So yeah, we are. And so how do we continue to balance the shadow aspect of ourselves during that journey? Because that's a really big part of it. It's been a big part of it for me as a person that's had lots of drama and chaos in early stages of my life. I'm grateful that I don't really have it so much at this stage of my life, but oh my Lord, we had all kinds of crazy stuff back in the day. And so, to me, I think it goes back to old school shadow work, which is always such a loaded kind. That's a cringe term for a lot of people, especially people that are deeply entrenched in the quote unquote new age kind of architecture. Shadow work can be a very misunderstood concept, and a lot of people don't really understand what it is or how it goes. And I think a big part of that is because shadow work is essentially a different journey for each living person. Every living being is going to have their different version of the shadow self, and so. But yeah, kind of like Jeremy was saying, I was the aggressor and manipulator. Totally, that was definitely me as well. And so I think for me, the ways in which most of that, or the big elements that have been grounded and sort of have been resolved in this life, have come through absolute acceptance of like who I am and how I feel and the reality of my journey, to allow certain feelings and wounds to sort of run their course within the life, to then, just because we allow ourselves to feel something and to go through the entire experience of it and to, dwell in our understandings and our lack of understandings around it, doesn't necessarily mean it's over. Oftentimes there's also an equal amount of follow through that we have to make in our own physical life, where we'll actually have to begin to practice things differently. We have to change our behaviors. We have to sort of, in many cases, do the opposite. And everyone that's watching this already knows. So it's like, I don't want to get too I don't want to get, what's the word? Can't say it. Preachy. There we go. You guys can tell when I get a little bit of that stutter going, but I think for me, most of the shadow elements come up today with self-destruction kind of negative energy and me holding on to things. I would say more so than acting out. I think the good news is I sort of left behind a lot of the acting out of the shadow self side against the world. And at this stage of my life, it's more like everything that I'm doing to myself, which I think for some of us, that that's the hardest part to deal with, right? What we actually do to ourselves. Um, but yeah, anyway, we're transition into the reading zone. Into the reading zone. Troy Stingle says, I was a technologist. It's challenging to admit that. I am stunned I am alone. Oh, right. You mean in the previous Atlantean timelines? Ooh, I definitely feel you on that. You feel very much. You feel very much like you were. And I'm just basing that upon your frequency that shows up on, surface level stuff. And so, confirm or deny. But I think a lot of us were very much like that. I know that I like the versions of myself that I've reached into from those time periods was very much what we would call part of the sort of the dark controlling agenda. Although I was definitely spending a lot of life cycles within what we would call the priest caste or the priesthood caste, a lot of kind of spiritual practitionership, a lot of what some people would call witch doctor type stuff. Not very positive. Actually, I think for myself during a lot of those life cycles, what I have viewed is that it wasn't so much that it was a lot of negative kind of, dark stuff. It was entirely self-serving. And I think for a lot of us in the Atlantean timelines, we became sort of like, for hire in a certain sense. And we would sort of, devote ourselves or our energy or our abilities to whatever the highest bidders were at that stage. And so in some cases, that was a technocratic, governmental structure. In other cases, it was, this sort of warlike timeline experience. In other cases, it was very strange and mystical and dark, and there was a lot of actual implantation that we would put within people and control large swaths of like the population. And it does look like at a number of stages they revolted against us. I think multiple times they revolted against us. A lot of us lost our life in that process, and we came back and we did it again and again and again. And granted, there's also been the other side as well, where we've tried to correct those imbalances. And so I think this lifetime represents a really, really amazing opportunity to resolve a tremendous amount of it. I think part of that has to do with the fact that a lot of us on the earth plane right now are while it doesn't seem like it, there's a much larger kind of alignment with respect to what we might call the light right now. I know that's a relative one, right? There's a much greater alignment of maybe not so much the light, but the awareness of the levels of control and manipulation that are being placed upon us. Whereas, last times around, we were the one pressing, the buttons. But anyway, watch out. I'll continue down that strange and dark road. But yeah, the Atlantean timelines were a trip. And then there was a lot of time, I think, for me and probably a lot of other people on this live stream that we spent within what we would call the sort of post-Atlantean. It looks a lot like the Egyptian era. Although it does appear as though the sort of architecture, the structures, what we identify as the sort of Egyptian aesthetic, was actually present in places all over the world at certain stages. And I don't know if this was the stage on Earth, where the continents had already separated or whatever. Who knows at what stage that was, but it does feel like things were equally accessible. Despite being in kind of a different stage of technology, because it seems like the sort of Egyptian era versions of myself were very, very much just in a whole different quality of life. It was far less technological and entirely spiritual. And I think my wife at the time, or now my wife now. We were both involved with a number of priest castes in the Egyptian eras or timelines, a number of spiritual schools, oracles, all sorts of things, and we had a lot of memories of kind of working with people that were passing on, dignitaries or people, and literally weighing their organs and getting them ready to move into the next stage of their dimensional journey. And a lot of our work was in pyramids and other pyramid structures. I think we were also a lot of us here were sort of part of the groups that sort of pushed for the construction of the reverse pyramid structures. at certain stages, which is a thing I've talked about in other live streams. The reverse pyramid structures that actually siphon life from the environment, from the people, from the land. In some cases, they're placed right underneath a regular pyramid, and there's an inverted structure that pulls energy downward and out. And I think, we were also involved in the creation of those. And so anyway, all kinds of wild stuff in the Egyptian eras. But yeah, hello everyone. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I know, right? I said that we were going to start doing readings, and then every time I just go on a crazy rant. But anyway, we're going to start doing some readings. So I will tell you, the first person we're going to do, I had somebody asking earlier. I do not remember who it was, and I apologize because that is a problem with reading stuff here. But I'm going to go with the most accessible. Somebody just wrote it. There we go. We're going to start with Soul Schooling. You're the first one. If you might have already put your name on there, you can just say, I would like a reading or something. Sometimes I get to a lot of people in a row. Sometimes we skip around, you guys. I have to be real. I will inevitably go to where I'm drawn. It's nothing to do with who you are. It's just a weird dynamic that comes in when we do these reading things. I will try to get to as many as we can. But I also want to say this. A lot of times I'll call someone else's name, or someone else will be receiving a card. And the reality is it is for you and you and you and you and everybody else. And so that's one of the cool things about multidimensional tarot, is that not only does it work within a myriad of situations or directions, but it also applies to a number of beings and moments and situations all at the same time. Very much like what we would call the fourth density state of consciousness, in which all time is available and all is known. Everything is apparent. And so anyway, the cards will reach whoever they are meant to reach. But we're going to start with Soul Schooling. So let's kind of get ready for this. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Absolutely. Kathleen and Haley. Good to see you as well. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it, you guys. We're going to kind of get warmed up here, and then we're going to start out. Soul Schooling is coming up first, but just I have to say your name over and over again, otherwise I will forget. That's kind of how I can tell we're moving into the tarot zone, because I'll literally forget the name. But all right, everyone. So you guys are going to help me out. If you're not in your car, so you can close your eyes, or maybe you're not out in public, but we're just going to close our eyes for a quick few moments here, and we're going to do just 3 deep breaths. You guys are going to help everybody get in tune, get on the same wavelength, get in the same frequency, and it's also going to help you receive and send your own psychic messages. So we'll do 3 breaths like a team, like a group, like a unit, like one body. I'll count from 3 to 1, and everybody breathe in with me. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, breathe in. Hold it at the top. Don't let it out. And then let all your breath out. Let everything out all the way down to the bottom. Let all your breath out. Then we're going to do breath number 2, you guys, like one group, like one unit, like one body. Here we go. Let's breathe. 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Hold it at the top. And then let that breath out. Let your body kind of move and like kind of vibrate or twist a little bit as you breathe out. Here comes breath number 3, everybody. This is the 3rd one. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Hold it. And let all of your breath out. Very, very good. Good job. There we go. Thanks, everybody. You have now entered the tarot zone. We're going to try to keep it pretty short, because I see a lot of people are asking, and that's a beautiful thing. Sometimes I'll rant a long time on certain cards. Sometimes we won't. We're going to try to keep it like 1 minute each. Is that even a realistic time period? I don't know. Let's see. I am definitely one of those readers, you guys. This is a little bit of a preview for the tarot class. I shuffle heavily heavily. I think if you're really mixing up the energy, you're going to want to shuffle your cards a lot. I see a lot of readers, some that I really love, they just kind of reorganize and resituate their cards. But I am an advocate of really, really mixing up the energy, really mixing it up. So, boom. Okay, we're ready. All right, so we're starting. I'm going to put your thing on the screen so I know who I'm reading for. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Okay, it was Soul Schooling. Boom, there it is. Number 1. Here we go. All right, for those of you assisting, the Mind Body Spirit Complex, referred to as Soul Schooling in the online social media realm. We're just looking for advice and understanding in form of a 1-card reading. Anything that you'll need to know. Here's the funnest and craziest part about it, you guys. You'll see it in the moment with me. Boom. Bam. Okay, card number 1. As we enter the world of multidimensional tarot, our first visitor today for Soul Schooling is none other than the world, which, man, talk about starting with a can of worms, you guys. What happens when the world shows up in your life for Soul Schooling and anyone else who needs to receive it? Well, here's the fun thing about the world. The world, like you can imagine, it's everything in the world. It's both good, it's bad, it's crazy, it's beautiful, it's insanity, it's chaos, it's magic. And magic's a good key word because the world is very much like a magic mirror. It's a magic mirror that shows up in your life. Some people have it from the moment they're born. Other people pick it up at certain stages and they stare into it for a little while. But what is it really? It is a period of enhanced manifestation ability wherein anything that you're really focused on, anything that you're really obsessed with, whether it's beautiful or whether it's chaotic and insane, the world is basically the magic mirror in your life that whatever you hold up in front of it every day, they go, oh, I see. That's what you're obsessing on. That's what you're looking on. That's what you're constantly worried about. Or let's give you more of it. And so the world will continue to replicate experiences and bring things into your life, but it'll give you really what's indicated by your most prevalent emotional condition, by how focused you are, by how tuned in you are to what you really want and where you're really at in this stage in your life and the world. And so it's also all of the external factors that exist in our world, whether it's chaotic or beautiful. The world's a little bit of everything. And so when you have it, in Soul Schooling, you probably have it right now in a big way. Hopefully you'll identify with this. It's very important to watch your thoughts. It's very important to watch the emotions that you hold within you and to understand that if you're able to really unify your consciousness and concentrate yourself toward a certain goal or an outcome or a thing in your life, the world will bring it very, very rapidly, and it'll bring it over and over and over again. But here's the whole thing with the world that I like to tell people: just be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for with the world. It can be beautiful and it can be crazy, and then tomorrow it'll be something totally different. But it's all about obsession, what you're really driven toward and what you continue to repeat in your life. And so for some people, the idea of obsession behind the world in tarot is a little bit of a weird thing, but we see it play out over and over and over again with people who are willing to become consumed by an energy. It can go negatively or it could go positively. And so when the world shows up, be careful what you consume yourself with, because it'll show up in a really cool way or a crazy way. And you can tell I'm already kind of looping on that Soul Schooling. Also notice it's number 21. And so for a lot of us, that will have a little bit of relevancy. Not that I always get into the sort of intricacies of numerology in tarot. I'm not very knowledgeable with numerology, but I do know that at many stages, if you perceive the relevance of a number, then there's relevance for you. And just because it was only 2021 so long ago, and we see the world right here, it stands to reason that this is playing a much bigger role as we go forward. And so just be careful what you wish for, everybody, with the world. Soul Schooling, I hope that finds you well. I hope that made a little bit of sense. But yeah, let's do some more. We're going to scroll upward. Here we go. I saw somebody else deciphering my experience. Boom, there we go. You did get my attention with the all caps. Good job on that. But I think deciphering my experience asked very, very early on. I feel like they asked early on, so I was returning to their name. And so for those of you assisting, those going by the deciphering my experience tag, we're just looking for advice and understanding, whatever's okay. Boom, goes directly to your throat. Okay, and so yeah, just continuing to soften the throat, continuing to soften the voice, continuing to understand that it's not what you're saying, it's the way that you're saying. You will find that just energy will be received, things will be communicated on a little bit of a different level. Not that there's anything wrong there, because there's not. This is a very, very strong energy center for you, but there is a tuning, there's a softening, and there's a development that's going to be taking place within the layers of your self-expression over the coming months that's going to hopefully facilitate movement into just a different chapter or a different purpose, or we could even say a different layer of your experience, that you're very, very much, you're in alignment with your need to, whether we call it deciphering or explaining or discussing it. You're going to be doing a lot more of that as you work with the throat. We could even maybe say thyroid a little bit, but it's really more about the energy center through which you communicate. And so hope that makes a little bit of sense, deciphering my experience. We did also pull a card for you. And for anyone else who needs to receive it, we got a 7 of Wands. What happens when a 7 of Wands shows up in your life, everybody? Some of you guys are going to be looking at this and you'll be able to immediately pick up the symbolism behind 7 of Wands. But when 7 of Wands shows up in your life, you can tell this guy's in a little bit of a conflict. But when you really look at the symbolism with 7 of Wands, you notice that all of those wands underneath you that might be pointing at you, they really can't reach you, and you're on higher ground. And so the 7 of Wands often tells us that we have a little bit of internal conflict. There may be an inbuilt defensiveness. At a certain stage in our life, it may have been very necessary to continue to mirror that defensiveness outward, or whatever that internal conflict is. And it's not a real conflict. I have to be real. The 7 of Wands is someone that is holding a conflicted energy within themselves, and they won't always be aware of how they're on higher ground, or how they have a distinct advantage in the energy of the situation. And so take heart. I think this was, see, I already forgot the name, Deciphering My Experience, and anyone else that receives it, you are on a completely different level from those around you. And a lot of the shit that you think will get aimed at you in this world, it can't even touch you. And so I think this is a pretty good energy to have. It is also because some of these cards, you guys, they will sort of work with layers of anatomy. They'll work with energy centers, with meridians in the body. 7 of Wands is a little bit of liver energy and a little bit of kidney energy. What do liver and kidney energy do? Well, the liver is a place where we hold resentment, anger, bitterness, also frustration, although that's a little bit more of a gallbladder energy, but it's where we do hold somewhat of an aggressive frequency, or really the unresolved anger that exists within the body, and also just anger in general. The liver, all of the organs will also filter emotions and experiences, as well as, physical things. And so the liver is about anger. That's the 7 of Wands, and we're not defining you as angry. We're just telling you the energy of the 7 of Wands. So don't take it like anyone's saying you're this way, because I used to feel like that. Like when people would give me a reading, I'm like, no, I'm not. What do you mean? And so sometimes we are, sometimes we're not. But so this is a little bit liver energy, and it's also kidney energy. And what are the kidneys like, you guys? What is kidney energy like? Well, kidney energy can also be annoyed. It can be aggressive. It can be anxious. It can be fearful. It can be a little bit more of a varied mix of difficult emotions in the body. It also has a lot to do with drive, vital energy, the aging process in your body, how your body processes and holds and cleans, blood and fluids in the body, all sorts of things. Everybody knows about the kidneys. But when it comes to emotional stuff, this is usually a sign that we might have a little bit too much kidney energy. I would say more kidney energy with the 7 of Wands than liver, because with kidneys, you'll get this sort of thing where, this is kind of a silly word, but I'll just use it. The kidneys will cause one to get a little bit pissy, where you're kind of just like, you're not super angry, but you're just kind of just annoyed and irritated, and everything's too slow, and you're just like, screw this, and it's something that, it's not like acute and horrible, but you'll be tense in a way. And to me, that would be an embodiment of, part of the kidney energy spectrum, but a bit more of the 7 of Wands. And so probably spent too much time on that card. Anyway, thank you. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that helps. We're going to scroll upward. I'm just going to grab somebody, so don't be mad if it was above you. If we didn't grab you. Boom, here we go. Bam, Jenny Danielle. I don't even know if she's still here. So maybe you're still here, Jenny Danielle, maybe not. But I also like to say this is for Jenny Danielle and anyone else who needs to receive this energy. Self-confidence. Oh Lord, I'm just going to say it for just from the start. Self-confidence and allowing yourself to be seen in a different way on a different level is going to be monumental for you this year. Self-confidence, anything that you can generate, anything that you can do to generate it within others. You can start by helping other people with generating their self-confidence, and it's going to teach you about what you're capable of again. So hopefully that makes sense. Jenny Donnell, let's pull a card for her. Boom. Cool. Let me pull this off the screen. I'll probably forget your name instantly, but thank you for being here. And you also have the Queen. It was Jenny. Thank you. You also have a Queen of Swords. And so this is a really good one for a lot of people to receive. Well, it's also for Jenny and anyone else that needs to receive it. The Queen of Swords is what we call the #1 diplomat in the world of tarot. She's the one that they send in there to send a message, to give a message, to explain very difficult things, to communicate things very smoothly and openly. And here's the thing about the Queen of Swords. She's all about the throat chakra, but she's more than just throat chakra energy. And for those of you guys that are familiar with the color spectrum of chakras, you'll see the blue and you'll go, you'll get a clue. But regardless, she's very much in the throat energy spectrum, but she's also activated throat energy. And what would be an example of activated throat energy? That's thymic chakra, right underneath it. You have your throat chakra. Then right down here, you have the thymic chakra, which is just above the thymus itself. Other people call it the high heart chakra. I went on like a 2-year rant on the thymic chakra because it was activating in me and a bunch of other people over the past few years. So a lot of you guys already heard me talk about it, but she's the queen of those areas. And so she's the queen of sending a difficult or a tender or just a wild message with absolute grace and ease. And the whole spiel behind Queen of Swords, you guys, is the Queen of Swords is a person that can tell you to fuck off to your face, but she'll do it in a way that's so artful and caring and just in just the best possible way that you will receive it. And you'll be like, oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I've actually been thinking that for so long, and you finally summed it up. The Queen of Swords can do that. It's all about the way she expresses herself. It's not what she's saying. And so she'll be called to stand up for others in certain ways. She'll be called to present herself in many cases, sometimes as a speaker, as an authority. But what she also is a bit of a peacemaker. And so she does have a downside. She can become very cold. She can sort of lose her emotional tone, and she can become a little bit cutthroat. All the sword characters have that. Some of them will cut your head off on the way to saving your life type stuff. Or, she's not necessarily like that, but she will kind of become very cold and just cut people off at times. So there's both good sides and bad sides to it. But I believe she's asking you to allow yourself to be heard on a greater level, to allow yourself to be seen. It's not what you're saying, it's the way that you're saying it. And so take whatever you can from that. Take whatever you can. Mom Tendo says, are those butterflies? Yeah, totally. Once again, that's Robin Wood Tarot. But thank you, Katie Cat. She says, that's a good impression of Seven of Wands. Thanks. Some of you guys have heard me say this before, which is, maybe it's a cool thing, maybe it's a bad thing. But I think if you really, really want to learn how to read tarot, start making up your own meanings. Make up your own meanings to the cards. If you create a relationship with the energy and learn to identify it in your own way in your life, you will actually be learning not only the correct version of it. In many cases, you'll start reading up on it later and you'll be like, well, I got it. I didn't realize I read the energy anyway. But, you'll also create your own meanings. I think that's really important for those of us that are kind of opening up our intuitive abilities in a new way, because some of you guys will see a Seven of Wands and it will be a very, very different thing to you. It'll be a very different message. It'll be the one, probably the one that you're supposed to receive. But that was a thing for me. I allowed myself to make up my own meanings, not because I just didn't know anything and I want to make them up. But one of the things that I was taught at the very, very beginning, the woman that really, really helped me get started in this world, she taught me, and this is the thing that I tell people now, that little book that comes with your tarot deck, throw it away, get rid of it, or put it away somewhere where you're not going to rely on it and read it, at least for a while. Allow yourself to just look at the images and just gather information. And it's very much like you're scrying. You're scrying the energy. You're sort of reading what comes through rather than, using the pre-established definitions of tarot. It's one of the other reasons why I do not do reversed cards. A lot of people do reverse cards. That's a very legitimate way to do it, but I do not do. I don't think anyone that's, I should preface this with maybe this could be a little bit of an egoic statement, but I think if you're really, really reading the energy, you don't need a card to be upside down to tell you whether it's bad or good. Some people, it'll be very helpful, but I just don't. I never do reversals. You can have, and here's the crazy thing is that, when you're really looking at a timeline, you will realize that you can have both aspects, both what they would call the reversed version of tarot and the upright version of that card, both in the exact same moment. It's like both will be present. So some people will read the card being upside down and they'll be like, oh, you got the negative version of this. And they don't necessarily go any farther. And so thank you, Moments of Truth with Julie. She says, I do not do reversals as well. Totally. There's no reason to do it. Although, actually, I never, let me be real. I never did. Even when I did not know anything about tarot back in 2012 and 13, and I was just messing around with it, I didn't actually do reverse cards then, but not because I was like I just did not even really know about it. They would come around and I would turn it back over. And I remember reading about, reversals in some of the tarot websites at the time, but for some reason I still didn't. I still did not do reversal. And so maybe maybe that was just how it's supposed to be for me, but let's grab somebody else. We're going to grab somebody else. I'm going to scroll way up, you guys. We're going to go way up there. I apologize for anyone that's getting left behind. It's kind of inevitable. It's inevitable. Let's grab a new person. Cool. Actually, because I see your name again, because you've been commenting a lot, I grab onto some of the ones that I've seen. We're going to do Mom Tendo CS. Boom. I would love a reading. Cool. Here we go. Mom Tendo. Okay. Mom Tendo. Self-trust is paramount for you at this stage of the journey. There's just a need to trust. There's also a need to trust, I think, that when you're being lied to. I don't know why that's a thing. It's just someone wants me to tell you that it's important to trust that when you're being lied to. Not to say that someone's lying to you. I'm not trying to insert anything in your timeline. It's just that's literally what came through, is that you need to trust that when you're being lied to. And so I figure maybe you'll kind of know what that's about. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, solar plexus energy. As I look at it again, which a lot of you guys see me kind of glitch out to the left. I think we did an interview with Jackie Kenner a couple of weeks ago, and she was the first person ever who actually called me out on that. And that's a thing that I will do. What I've come to understand, that it's kind of connecting with what we call the assemblage point, which is an energy node in your back, or sometimes it's above, sometimes below. But anywhere, I'll sort of go up and to the left and sort of grab an energy or grab a frequency or view a person or have a conversation, or, whatever it is. There's a whole thing that happens. So I'll sort of glitch out up and to the left. But yeah, self-trust, knowing that you're being lied to. When I looked again, the reason why I said that was because I could feel your solar plexus. And so, whether it's confidence or self-trust or expressing yourself on a greater level, just knowing your own power in a greater way. Well, we will pull a card. We never know what's going to come out, you guys. That's the wild thing. Sometimes it's a bad idea to pull that card like live in the moment, because what if it's a really awkward one? Then I have to like disarm the energy, which happens constantly. But I think that's also really good. Like for those of you guys that are really practicing tarot, to try to stump yourself, to try to do it, like train yourself so you can do boom, boom, boom. You can look at the card and instantly talk about it. But here we go. Mom Tendo. Boom. Mom Tendo D or CS, you got the Two of Cups. Which here's the really fun thing about Two of Cups, you guys. This is a little bit of a tarot class moment here. There's a few cards in the world of multidimensional tarot whose true meanings can only be understood by the beholder. And so some of you guys are going to see this card, and you're also going to know that it's for you as well. And I want to let you know it absolutely is. We're sort of aiming it at Mom Tendo. But when the Two of Cups comes out, like I just said, its true meaning can only be known by you. It depends on if this is something you have in your life. It depends on if you're seeking it, if you're trying to avoid it. Some people don't even know what this moment is. Some people see it and they deeply yearn for it. Others have it and they're like, yep, that's me and so. But here's the deal. When the Two of Cups shows up, you're at a stage of your life where you might be making a new agreement. You might be coming together on a new level. You might be engaging in somewhat of a energetic experience, an agreement, a coming together, what we could call a union between yourself and another. Now, a lot of people see this and they'll feel that it's romantic. And the reality is, yes, it could absolutely be if that's the feeling that you get when you receive it. But the Two of Cups, in my opinion, is a beautiful agreement. And it is a stage of alchemy, creation, and union where two and sometimes more than two people come together in just a new stage of understanding. You will see another person eye to eye in ways that you have not in the past or haven't for a while. And so to me, this is a very good omen. I also think it's kind of one of those cards that has a relationship with our extraterrestrial soul family because, we see that sort of feline lion being there, which is a very real thing. Before I even, was doing anything with tarot, well, I had the tarot cards at that stage, but when I was knee deep in a really crazy dissociative awakening journey, I think this was summer of 2015. A lot of you guys have probably heard me say this before, but there was days when the only thing I could do is qigong. It was the only thing. Like if I did qigong in the backyard for hours after work, I'd feel normal enough to eat dinner. And I remember doing it one day, and I sort of put my hands up, and I was going like this. And as I came down, I looked like across the sky, and there was the face of a lion, very, very much like this. There was no wings. There was clouds behind him. But it was not a cloud in the face of a lion. It was a literal face of a lion in the sky, very much made of light, but not clouds. And it was a thing that I just looked at and I just cried. I just was like, and part of it was because it was beautiful. Part of it was because I thought I was going crazy. Part of it was because there's a goddamn lion in the sky. And I'm like, what the hell? So it was a crazy stage in my life. It was a crazy stage, but anyway, thank you. I think that was the tail end of somebody's thing there. Mom Tendo, possibly. we definitely branch off into other stuff, but cool. Thank you. We're going to scroll up and grab some other people. Let's find somebody else. Okay, we're just going to grab this person. Boom, Michelle Cunningham. I don't know. Maybe she's still here. Maybe she's not. Michelle Cunningham, you can mention it in the chat if you're here. But if not, this will be for anyone else who needs to receive it, or maybe also the spirit of Michelle Cunningham, wherever they are. But let's see what rolls in. For Michelle Cunningham. Some people it takes a little bit longer to reach. Sometimes that means you have a really good energetic security system, Michelle Cunningham, and people will try to read you and they won't be able to read you. Not that we're in that situation, but I could just tell you have a really good energetic security system. For those of you assisting mind, body, spirit complex known as Michelle Cunningham. Here we go. Michelle Cunningham, what's ending? You're at the end of an era. Sometimes it's just the end of the week, so let's be real. But you got a 10 of Cups. What happens when a 10 of Cups shows up in your life for Michelle Cunningham and anyone else that needs to receive it? Here's the deal, you guys. There are four big maybe five. Anyway, there's four tens in the world of multidimensional tarot, and each one of those tens is the end of an era, the end of a chapter, or something that characterizes the quality of energy of something that's leaving or it's closing out in your life. And so here's the thing, you guys, the 10 of Cups is one of the greatest endings that you can have. Michelle Cunningham, whatever's closing in your life right now, whatever you're putting behind you, whatever chapters that you're leaving. Sometimes, you see a family and, it brings to mind lots of, events and people and situations, maybe something vaguely like this. But here's the deal. This is the best version of an ending that you can have. Like I said, there's four primary endings. One's very difficult and defeated. One's totally neutral. It's up to you. One of them is very abundant. And then this is the happy one. This is a happy ending, a stage of your life in which you're going to take a little bit of yourself from each one of those cups, all 10 cups, and you're going to go through this process. You'll go through a gateway or, a portal, quote unquote, or really just a decisionary point in your journey. And something will end and a new process will begin. But this is one that you're meant to celebrate. It's not one that comes with trauma or sadness or sickness. Although it can be quite emotional, it can definitely be an emotional one. And so I won't read into this too much for you because, the tens can take a very different twist for each and every person. We would need to hear a lot more about your life. But what I can tell you is that whatever you're willing to close out of right now, whatever you're willing to put behind you, gather a little bit of yourself from a number of stages and build something new. And if you're wondering for just more information, what the cups are, you guys, what are the cups? Because a lot of us that are new, you'll be like, okay, we got cups and pentacles and we got swords, and so here's the deal. The cups are about your relationships, your emotion, your self-identity, what you share with the world, how you perceive yourself with others, who you care about, the way you share yourself. I think I already said that, the way you share yourself with the world. And so they're very emotional. It's a very emotional energy, but this is a very, very beautiful version of it. And so I pray that finds you well, you and anyone else who needs to receive it. Oh yeah, thank you, Miss Liz. I saw someone asking about what tarot deck this is. This is the Robin Wood Tarot, not Robin Hood, Robin Wood. Which for those of you guys that are going to be taking the tarot class, usually one or two will sort of come around every kind of week or so as we start this process. For those of you guys that are going to be in the tarot class, I recommend getting it because this is the one that we use in the class. And even if you don't know tarot, even if you don't care about the class and you're just trying to figure stuff out on your own, Robin Wood Tarot, in my opinion, like I said earlier, will give you all the meanings of every single card. Every single one, it tells you exactly what it's about. And they're all characters, which I think is a cool one. Everyone has a little bit of a weird message and all kinds of symbolism, but yeah, Robin Wood. Here we go. Let's grab somebody else. Who knows who it will be? Here we go. Boom. We just grabbed the one that was right in the center of the screen. Hello, Leyland. May I ask for a reading if there is time? Yes, there is. Thank you, Leyland. The door opened instantly. Okay, for some reason we're getting colors for you, which is a rare thing. So, we're getting the colors of what appears to be ivory and silver and a little bit of goldish pink. Okay, thank you. Energy that's coming into the crown. Energy of a number of different frequencies, but as you tune in with colors, as you grab onto colors, as you allow yourself to integrate with colors right now, it's going to be helpful for you integrating energies that could not be, well, not, we shouldn't say could, they will be much more difficult to install because you might over intellectualize, or so it's almost like you would feel something a little too deeply. And so for some reason, you're getting a color spectrum related download of energy right now, which could be coming from a couple of different places. Especially the sort of ivory frequency right now. And it's probably because we were talking about Atlantean eras and Atlantean times. I do believe it has something to do with the version of yourself that existed during that time period. So lean into that strange color mix. Once again, silver, ivory, kind of an ivory-ish silver. And where was the other one? Yeah, okay, whoa. Yeah, it's like gold and pinkish colors that are going into the back of your head. Very, very interesting. So that and so just in case you're sitting there going, well, what the hell is this guy talking about? That's okay. We're going to pull a card for you. And anyone else that needs to receive this card. For those of you assisting Leyland, And just in case you're actually trying to reach out and talk to me right now, Leyland, it's like literally I can tell there's like a two-way thing going on. And so we won't leave that open for too long. But thank you. You have just a lot of distinct abilities. And here we go. There it goes. Trying to get that off screen. Okay, for Leyland, we got a Page of Pentacles. This is actually also a really good tarot moment, you guys, because who's the Page of Pentacles, you guys? The Page of Pentacles is one of a few, well, she's, in my opinion, she's the luckiest being in the entire world of tarot. She makes chance discoveries, chance encounters. She'll be walking down the street thinking she's going to turn right. She'll turn left and she'll stumble upon something, and it's something of great value. In this case, it's a pentacle. What are the pentacles in the world of multidimensional tarot? Well, they're both your desires and the currency of your desire, meaning they're both what we want and also how we get what we want. In most cases, people see the pentacles and they'll think of money, which is that's a good example of it within third density. But it can be so much more. That's more of the fourth density version of it. But what happens when Page of Pentacles, or really any of the pages, what happens when they show up in your life, is that you are in a legitimate new beginning. All the pages denote a new process beginning in your life. And the Page of Pentacles is a very particular type of process, one that you might be a little bit resistant to. And I'm not going to define you as resistant, but that's one of the traits of the Page of Pentacles. She will be a little bit more stubborn. You might have to make her think it's her idea in order for her to start doing it. She'll hold on to something incredible. Like, look at that giant coin she's holding. She'll hold on to it and people will be like, hey, you're amazing. You could be this, you could be that. You know what you could do with that thing right there? And she'll just hold it and go, yeah. But she won't necessarily do anything with it, which is sometimes awkward, sometimes a beautiful thing, sometimes she's not meant to, sometimes, yes, she's a little bit stubborn. And so just in case you got a little bit of that stuff, Page of Pentacles, as she moves forward in the next stage of her journey, she'll have to put something to use. Sometimes she inherits that thing, and so she might not always be aware of the value through which she's holding, but she's in a legitimate new beginning, and so she must develop herself accordingly. And so a lot of people that come in the page package, I call it the package of the page, they will often be misjudged in this world. You'll be a little weirder, a little smaller, a little bigger, a little something, you'll be too something in this world, and people will misjudge you accordingly, which is kind of the story of the page. They're the youngest members of the royal court. And so, they show up sometimes. Maybe they'll have a chip on their shoulder, or maybe they'll be having a hard time in a certain way. But it's important because Page of Pentacles, all the pages, they have to accept and receive your legitimacy. You have to come to the stage in which you can internalize the legitimacy of who you are and what you're becoming and where you're going in this life. For a lot of people with big page energy, that's the hardest thing to do. That's the hardest thing, to be able to look in themselves alongside others in the mirror and go, yep, we're the same, because they'll come in a different package. And so not that it's a bad or good thing. We're just talking about the traits of the Page of Pentacles. And so while this is for Leyland, I think it's also for a number of other people who need to receive the Page of Pentacles. And so thanks, everybody. I'm going to pause for a quick I'm going to pause and breathe for a quick moment there, which I have to do every once in a while. Sometimes it's very easy to just talk endlessly. Every now and then I'll catch myself and I'm like, and I got to breathe for a moment. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. Once again, we're doing this multidimensional tarot thing right now because we're starting a tarot class on May 22nd, which can be accessed through our website, rememberyourmission.com. Just so you know, it's a 5-week class. I should have said that in the beginning. 5 Sundays in a row beginning May 22nd. We're going to be meeting probably around, I think it's 1 p.m. I shouldn't say the time because I'll say the wrong time. I got to look at my own schedule, but it's each Sunday for 5 weeks in a row, starting on May 22nd. And yes, we will learn the meaning of every single card. Yes, we will learn several spreads that you can use in your own way. However, I guess I'll jump super far ahead and say I don't have a designated tarot spread anymore. I know a lot of people will go on websites and they'll be like, what is this spread? I know there's like a really common one that a lot of people use. I think it's called like the Celtic cross or the Celtic square or something like that. I still don't know what the hell that is. I have no idea. I don't know what like the positions mean. One of the ways that it's always worked for me is I just made my own. I made my own version of it. And we have kind of a layout that I've developed over the years, which is primary representative, the big influence in your life, what's going on in the mental body, what's going on in the emotional body, sometimes what's going on in the physical body as well. We call it how we are meeting the world. And then we also have a number of other placements. We have energy that resides within our aura. Sometimes I call those future energies. And anyway, we'll get to all that later. Otherwise, I'll go on a much longer angular rant. But I do not use pre-established tarot spreads. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because I know earlier I was going a little bit hard on the reversal process, which maybe that's just me, but there's nothing wrong with using other people's tarot spreads. I think that for a lot of people it can absolutely help you. It will help you learn to read in a really cool way. I think inevitably for those that will move past it, you will start to make up your own. And so anyway, I'm seeing a couple comments here and getting pulled out. La Love Ya Girl says, "Are you from Glendale?" No, I'm not. However, I did live in the Los Angeles area for about 3 years. I don't know if I ever went to Glendale though. I mean, maybe I did. I remember driving through Glendale, I think a couple times, and not that there's anything wrong with Glendale, but I remember we were like, man, let's get the hell out of here. So, and I'm definitely not a California hater, by the way. If it wasn't literally insane there, if there wasn't this strange Nazi-like infrastructure, this like technocratic Nazi infrastructure in the like the California state government, I would have remained there, honestly, because I actually really love California. I was born there, but it's just gone insane. It has gone absolutely, literally insane. And while Florida is equally strange in its own way, we definitely do not have to deal with the same bullshit as California. And once again, I'll definitely return to California in the coming years. I definitely would. I think out of all and I've almost been to every state in this strange country. Have not been to Hawaii, have not been to Alaska, but haven't been to Puerto Rico. Might be a couple others maybe that I missed, but anyway, yeah, we've been to most of them. So cool. Yeah, Glendale. Yeah, who knows? You might there might be some other Mornians out there. La Love Ya Girl. Who knows? There might be. Although I don't know any of them. So well, no, I guess my sister's out there. Anyway, we won't go into all that. But yeah, California, strange place. One day we'll return. Here we go. I'm gonna scroll way up in the chat, you guys. I'm gonna scroll way up in the chat and grab somebody. Okay, there's that one. We did theirs. Okay, I'm gonna go underneath there. Sorry, guys. I know I'm creating dead air by scrolling through the reading requests. Some of you guys asked a really long time ago, so I'm just gonna roll through and grab the next one that I see. Boom. Did we do Michelle? Yes, we did. Michelle Cunningham. See, some people's name will stick out to me. Here we go. Here's another one. Uni Matrix. How's it going? I'd like a reading. Maybe she's still here. Maybe not. If she's not, then this goes for everybody that's watching, everybody that's out there. And even if she is here, Uni Matrix, this is very much for you, but it's also for everybody else. And so here we go. For those of you assisting Uni Matrix. Thank you. There's a shouting. There's a very powerful element of your voice that you can unlock. For you, it might come through the releasing of negative emotions or things that are a little bit bottled up in there, although it doesn't feel tremendously bottled up. I'm not saying that there's a chaotic internal environment, but there's something that can explode out of you in a way that I think will help you kind of resolve just emotions that are still in there that might be holding you back a little bit. And so there's shouting or toning or some form of vocal, like manifestation that you're going to be able to summon. It could also be singing, or some other form of vocal action, but there's definitely something within your voice that is calling to be activated on a greater level. And so here we go. We'll pull a card for any matrix. Oh, she is here. Hello there. Here we go. We'll see it together. Uni Matrix. Whoa, you got a very, very cool thing. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a few signs in the world of tarot that are very, very reliable when they show up in your life. And the Chariot's definitely one of them. So for Uni Matrix and everybody else, who's the Chariot and what happens when it shows up? First of all, for Uni Matrix, as long as you're in alignment and in direct control of what you're doing right now, like whether it be your desires, whether it's work stuff, whether it's life stuff, whether it's just day-to-day world things, whatever you are willing to take direct control of, to really drive the car. And notice with the Chariot, you guys, there's only one driver, right? So only one person can drive this Chariot. But what does it mean when it shows up in your life? For many of us, it's what we would call a fast track toward success, or a fast track toward a place you want to go, or what we could call a destination for a goal in your life. But it's something that unless you take direct control of it and really, really drive the vehicle, the Chariot can run into a brick wall, because you notice they're just playing the harp. So that's an important detail, you guys. Not all tarot decks have that, but in the world of Robin Wood, she definitely demonstrates that, to show that the person driving the Chariot might not necessarily be in control of their own vehicle. Likewise, the horses, check them out. They're kind of not facing the same direction. They might be going in the same direction, but they're each going to have their own desires, their own impulses, and they're going to need to be pulled into line. So there's a matter of physical alignment, and there's a matter of control that will show up in your life, that if you're willing to really use it, to start commanding things, to sort of take the reins and start, whipping the horses into line. That sounds weird, but if you're willing to do that, it's going to help you move forward. And so there's a couple of cheesy spiels that I give with the Chariot. It's one good example of it is the universe handing you the keys to a very, very fast car. And they're like, here you go, Uni Matrix, go for it. Go wild. Go ahead. Take the Ferrari, and granted, if you didn't know how to drive, if you weren't paying attention, some people will just, and you'll just, you'll drive right into the brick wall, or you'll drive over the curb and hit a pedestrian or some cheesy thing. And take control of where you're going. Take control of your path. There's so much incredible success and manifestation that can come from the Chariot, but it's a one driver vehicle. And so anyway, watch out. I will keep ranting on that. Thank you for hanging out, Uni Matrix. Appreciate you being here. Boom. What's up, Potty Mouse Starseed? That was a while ago, but thanks for being here. I like the name of I like your screen name. Here, we're going to do one. There's another one. Boom. Moments of Truth with Julie. It's been a while. I think you're still here. Good to see your face. Moments of Truth with Julie. Thanks, Julie. Wow. So you've gone through huge changes. I do recall doing other readings in the past, Julie, where you showed up and it was like, I could feel your energy instantly, and this is no exception. There's probably, I'll just say it feels like there's some just capabilities and maybe abilities that you might not really be using, that you can absolutely push forward with. There is more of a need to record, possibly to write, possibly to present yourself in a public manner on a greater level. It does look like 2022 is kind of set up for you to make big strides in jumping forward, but it looks like there's a bit of vulnerability that's going to come into play, which weird. Ooh, here we go. This might be one of those jumping off the cliff moments, but there's a little bit of a hormonal thing going on. Yeah. So yeah, there's just, for some reason, like the endocrine system pops up and just hormonal balance shows up. And so that might be a weird phrase, but it does. It stands to reason there's a little bit of a hormone shift that's going to be occurring. You're gonna maintain it in a beautiful way, but it's gonna restore an element of energy within yourself that's going to help you push forward on a new level. But let's pull a card for Miss Moments of Truth with Julie. Here we go. Boom. Oh, look, you got the Seven of Swords. This is such a cool moment, you guys. Whenever the Seven of Swords rolls in for Moments of Truth with Julie and anyone else that reads it, the Seven of Swords is a very complex energy. A lot of people that read tarot get weird about Seven of Swords, which is rightful because sometimes it's a weird energy. It's a hidden energy. Sometimes every now and then the Seven of Swords, this is where we get real though, they need to be hidden and they'll keep themselves undercover and won't allow themselves to be seen for a period of time. Sometimes it's not safe. Sometimes it's not the right time to sort of launch out and show everyone what they're holding underneath their cloak. The Seven of Swords is, if this is you, Moments of Truth with Julie, you're coming to the stage where certain things are going to be done out in the open and they're going to be received differently. And so what are your swords in this world? Well, you probably know this, Julie, but other people might not. The swords are how you speak. They're what you say. They're the energy that you present with. They're the manner in which you show up. They're the tone in your voice. They're what you wear when you enter the room. And this is the cheesiest way I do it, but I do this with everyone. You guys will always know swords when I do this cheesy demonstration, you guys. Swords are the difference between seeing someone and going, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. You know, and otherwise you'll see a person and you're just like, totally different vibe, right? Those are your swords. They're the expression, they're your tone, they're your mannerism. You can say the same thing, but if people's swords are jagged and sharp, they'll say something beautiful to you and you'll be like, oh my God, why? Or they'll say something horrible and it will be received with such artful beauty that you'll be like, wow, thank you. It's all about what you're saying, or the way that you're saying something, not the way you're doing it. And so for Julie and anyone else that needs to receive this, Seven of Swords for people can remain hidden for a long time. They can remain undercover. They can do their work under darkness at times, and not like, evil darkness, but they just don't need to be seen. They might be working in the background. But every now and then, Seven of Swords will require you to do what you were doing and show the world that incredible hand that you have underneath what you're holding on to. And so it stands to reason that in 2022, as this year goes on, you're going to be presenting yourself on a greater level. Maybe as you work with a little bit of just, balance within the body and strengthen the self and, other things, the Seven of Swords is going to be doing everything out in the light of day. But anyway, watch out. I'll continue to rant on that one. I hope you can grab a little bit of something out of there, Julie. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here. Okay, here comes another one. Boom, instantly. Brooklyn Faye. Absolutely. Maybe you're still here, Brooklyn Faye. I wonder. Brooklyn Faye. For the mind, body, spirit complex known as Brooklyn. Boom. Here we go. Brooklyn Faye. What's going to happen? We don't know. Brooklyn Faye. Whoa, cool. You got the first appearance of the Queen of Cups. Who's the Queen of Cups? What's her deal? Why is she showing up here? What's she all about? Well, here's the thing with the Queen of Cups, you guys, and Brooklyn Faye and anyone else that needs to receive it. The Queen of Cups is a very powerful, emotional, feminine, very grounded energy. How do we know she's grounded, though? And this is probably important for you to hear, Brooklyn Faye, because the Queen of Cups is on dry land, and she's one of the only characters in the hierarchy of tarot that's actually planted in the earth. She's solid. She's on the ground. And the reason for that is she has a different sense of self than other people. She'll just know things about herself and the world. She'll just feel it and know it. And yeah, she might keep it to herself, which is not always a good thing. But the Queen of Cups just knows. And so there's things that you, as a living being in this world, if you identify with the Queen of Cups, you really need to trust those things that come from within you. It doesn't mean that they're all going to be right. It's not necessarily what it means, but about your sense of self and who you are in this world. The Queen of Cups will get that information before everyone else. And so the other thing is that, and this is for, I think we're on Brooklyn Faye, right? Ooh, Lord, always watch out. I'll start forgetting who we were talking to. But the other thing you'll notice, Brooklyn, is that she has this cup in her hand and it is eclipsed. It's covered. It's got this veil over it. And so the reality is we do not know what is in there. Now, what are the cups in your life? They're your self-identity. They're your relationships. They're what you hold inside you. They're what you share with the world. They're a number of things. And the whole quest of the Queen of Cups is that she's meant to understand what is within her cup, and she's meant to share it with the world. It's a very emotional energy, and that's where her true power comes in, within the emotions that she has. But she might be very reserved. She might hold them inside. She might not allow what is in her cup to be seen, or she might not even know what's in her cup. And so the quest for people with big Queen of Cups energy is understanding the self. You know, you're gonna know certain things, but she must share what she has in her cup. Otherwise, she will be influenced by it forevermore. And so it's a very, very useful energy for those that are willing to kind of share what's been brewing inside them, really learn about it, understand everything that you're holding within your cup, and then tell everyone about it, show the world, create something with it. And anyway, it's a very, very, it's, to me, it's one of the most powerful feminine energies in the world of tarot, but it's not always necessarily just a feminine energy. And so but yeah, thank you. Thanks, Brooklyn Faye, and anyone else who needs to receive that. And so I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom, all the way down. Boom, there we go. Jeremy Burr, what's going on? Can I get a reading? Yes. And so we're just going to kind of close the door. Sometimes as I do a bunch of these, you guys, and this is a thing that'll happen when you do a lot of readings, it's like you'll sort of leave doors open, like pop up, like sort of windows on your screen. You know how like after a while one will start playing an ad, you'll have all these like windows on your desktop, you know, and it's like one will be playing a commercial and you don't know where it is and you're clicking them all, and that's not so much a thing anymore. But back in the old days, you click one link online and like all these windows pop up. And so we're just going to take a moment and just breathe as we connect with the energy of Jeremy. Thank you. Jeremy, crown chakra is going to be very helpful for you. Working with the crown, also working with the soul star down at the bottom of your feet, but really just like the crown itself, the crown chakra, just in general, it's like you got a lot of data, you got a lot of energy. It's like you got both third density life, and then you got the spiritual realm, and they're both kind of like clashing together in a crazy way right now. And so, we're going to do it. We're okay. What are we going to do? We're going to kind of really gently, we're going to vibrate everyone's crown chakra that are here. And so part of this is going for Jeremy, but it's going to go for everyone else that can receive it. And so we're going to real gently vibrate your crown. Now, I'm on StreamYard. And so what's going to happen is I'll make a tone, and it might not necessarily show up auditorily. It's one of the weird things about Zoom and StreamYard is like I'll create a tone and it goes, and it, like you won't hear the sound, but we're going to real gently vibrate the crown before we pull a card for you. And I guarantee you there's a few people out there, as I create the sound, even if it goes silent, because that could happen. I haven't done a tone. We haven't done toning over StreamYard in a while, but you will feel a vibration, and some of you guys are feeling it already. Boom. Oh Lord, it's like little lights will come on. If you're one of the people that's feeling your crown already, the top of your head, and go ahead and drop it in the chat. We're going to vibrate that area specifically for Jeremy and everyone else that can hear this tone. And so just to help with downloads, to help you receive the energy and the knowings and the communications from spirit that are entering your life, just so that you can get all of what is yours in this world. Let's take a deep breath in. And what I'd like you guys to do is, as I create this tone, it's like you're going to breathe it in for Jeremy and anyone else. Thank you. I could definitely feel the top of the head. So here we go. Let's take a deep breath in. And allow yourself to receive. There we go. Now we're going to go one step further, And we're just going to seal that up because some people are going to have a lot of crown vibrations. I can feel it as well. It's like a bunch of little lights just came on. So we're going to do one more. This is a capsule phrase, and it's very helpful for those of you guys that want to use this in your own meditations, in your own energy work. And this is not one that was given to me. It's very, very well established. But it goes Ogam Satyam Om. And it's, Lord, it's one of the most, it's absolute, it literally vibrates the crown chakra. And so here we go. We're going to let all your breath out. For Jeremy and everybody else, take a deep breath in. Ogam Satyam Om. Once more. Ogam Satyam Om. And one more time. Here we go. Ogam Satyam Thank you. Good job, everybody. Good job. Good job. Let me know how the top of your head's feeling out there. Sorry, Jeremy, we got you up here on the screen. Sometimes it works really, really well. Ooh, Lord, good job, you guys. Way to go. Why do we work with our crown chakra? Why do we do, what's the benefit? Why would you want to do that? What will that do for you? The crown chakra is one of what we would call the sort of multidimensional transmission points. It's like a radio receiver. It's like a crystalline structure. Well, part of it's like a crystalline structure. And it allows you to tune in to vibrational energies. It's a gateway, one of the primary gateways into the human energy system. So when we talk about, those downloads, which is, it's kind of becoming kind of a cringy new age buzzword, but the downloads, which are the process of you receiving multidimensional energy into your consciousness. Sometimes it comes in the form of a daydream. Sometimes it comes in the form of a color. Sometimes it comes in a memory. Sometimes it comes in you receiving a memory of something that hasn't happened yet in your life. And every now and then it can be all sorts of other things, knowings, feelings, emotions, messages from spirit. But one of the most effective ways to allow yourself to tune in and receive it is by opening the crown. And so anyway, we were doing that for Jeremy because you got a lot of stuff going on around the crown chakra. And so anyway, we're gonna pull a card. I know we're dwelling really, really long on that. And so this is for Jeremy and everyone else. And I mean that when I say everyone else, because while we'll sort of aim it at one person, if you're here and you're on the live stream and you're able to kind of hear what I'm saying, then it's also for you. So, boom, here we go. Oh, it's back. Check it out. Page of Pentacles. Jeremy, you're holding on to something of great value. Earlier, you were talking about being of service and the desire to be of service. The Page of Pentacles has all the tools they need for that. They probably inherited it. You're probably going through a bit of a timeline shift in your own life where you're awakening to another version of you, like a new persona showing up. And you're definitely at the beginning stages of launching into that. Here's the thing, though, you guys. All of the suits, like whether it's a page or a king of pentacles, they all have certain things that they have to deal with, that they have to work with, that'll sort of make things easier for them. And so Jeremy and everyone else, the page of pentacles has to work with resistance. They'll have resistance to certain things. Pentacle people really like things. They want things to be predictable. They want things to be safe. They want it to like have a control over their physical environment. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I got tons of pentacle energy. I'm very much the same way. But at certain stages, pentacles will get a little bit caught up in maintaining certain things and they'll forget how to receive. And so the pentacles must learn how to receive. They have to learn how to open the root chakra as well, and allow themselves to receive what is theirs. And so here's the thing, though, for Jeremy and anyone else, you're holding something of great value. And one of the sometimes problems Page of Pentacles will develop is that she'll just sit there and and just hold it. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's usually something that is meant to be put to use, you know, for the world, for themselves, friends and family, whatever you want to call it. And so thank you. I hope that finds you well. A Hopeful Art says the crown is vibrating, but also the Bindu chakra. Thanks for mentioning that, Hopeful Art. For those of you guys that don't know, where's your Bindu chakra? Well, the interesting thing is it's one of the energy centers on the body that can move up or down a little bit, and it's going to be in a little bit of a different place for most of you guys. But generality, it's going to be kind of opposite your third eye, sometimes above, sometimes below. So don't get too caught up in it. There's another one right around there. Some people call it like the mouth of God. I've heard a bunch of weird names for it, but there's a vast infrastructure of energy centers within the head. Now, the Bindu chakra is very important because it will allow transmissions to come in from a higher dimensional wavelength in a little bit different way than the crown. It's more like the radio transmitter through which you begin to receive speech and memories and just energy that's yours from outside of you. Whereas the crown chakra is more of a universal transmitter, and it can be tuned this way or that way, and sort of, kind of like, like you're tuning the dial on the radio. Now, the Bindu chakra, it's similar to that, but it doesn't have what I would, or, maybe I'm going to be, saying I'm wrong on this in the future. It does not appear to need the same level of tuning or be able to be tuned in the same way. It's more dependent upon the other energy centers around it. If they're in alignment and if they're flowing, then it's one of those ones that allows for a seamless transmission of vocal energy through the brain, words, conversations, all kinds of stuff like that. Also has a lot to do with past life stuff. A lot of people will have sort of like a past life kind of scenario that's relevant to what's going on in this part of your life. And in order for you to receive that, the Bindu chakra will kind of have to be open or operational on some level. It's not that energy, you won't get it if it's not. It's just as you go through the awakening journey and you start to kind of harmonize and open up layers of the energy body, the Bindu just starts operating on a different level, just like the thymic chakra starts operating as energy rises, just like the soul star, which is up above the crown, also will start as energy rises up. It starts to interact in a different way. I think Miss Liz mentioned the causal chakras, which I think for a lot of us are some of the most palpable right now, even if we can't necessarily use them or don't know how. And I say this as a person who I'm not sure if I even know how to necessarily use them. But what we find is that as we go through the awakening journey, as we go through these, lower octaves of fourth density, energy centers start to move outside of the human body. Some of them begin to move in different, directions, or energy passes through them in different directions. But what some people call causal or portal chakras start to emit from the sides of the head, and they're like orbs or energy centers that will grow outward. And at a certain stage in your journey, they start to rotate around the sides of the head. And one of the reasons that we've noticed for that activation is that that's the stage when we start to communicate more heavily from outside the body, where you start to receive information from outside the body on a little bit of a different level. And so anyway, sorry, I'm ranting on energetic anatomy here. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thanks for hanging out. If you're one of the people who has not yet subscribed to this channel, some people know where this is going, please do so. It could be very helpful. And we are trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, maybe by the end of the year. I don't know. Maybe it'll take a long time. It took like 3 years to get to where we are now. So who knows? Maybe it'll be a lot longer, but it definitely helps. I'm trying to get, I guess I'll be honest, because I don't always go into my own stuff as much or my own desires, but I am trying to get on more events, and I'm trying to get on like other shows. And, who knows, maybe some of it has to do with social media numbers. Some of it, I think a lot of it has to do with just me. I'm but yeah, we are trying to get seen on a greater level. And really the reason for that is we have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot more people that need to get pulled up to speed onto what your abilities are and how to use them and how to work with them and really what your mission is. And so yeah, help us get the word out there. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll keep going. Let me know if you guys have any other questions as well. We're still going to grab a couple of people for readings. But yeah, let me know if you have any other questions in the meantime. And so let's see, other people for readings. Here we go. Thanks for doing the crown chakra opening thing with me, guys. Seriously, for real though. A lot of you guys felt it. Really, really good job. Here we go. We found the first reading chat message. Joanna LeBlanc, how's it going? Maybe she's still here. Maybe not. If you are here, you can mention it in the chat. But we're going to pull the card for Joanna regardless. And anyone else who needs to receive it. And anyone else who needs to receive it. Joanna LeBlanc. For those of you assisting the mind-body-spirit complex known as Joanna. Here we go. We'll see it together in real time. What's going to happen? Boom. Joanna LeBlanc, you have the first appearance. Ooh, let me get it off the screen here. We have the first appearance of the Knight of Swords. Who's the Knight of Swords and what's he doing here? What's his deal? Who's this strange guy swooping down from the heavens with a highly electrified sword on this giant horse with huge wings and all kinds of stormy weather around him? Who is this weird guy and why did he show up for Joanna LeBlanc? Well, let's get real. Joanna, this is the energy of intensity. But before you get weird about the word intensity, understand that the Knight of Swords could be blissful, magical intensity, or he could be chaotic intensity. But he's intense, and that's what he's supposed to be. He can also be intense communication. He can be inspired communication. He can be you sending a very particular message verbally or energetically, expressing yourself in a determined way. Sometimes Knight of Swords will swoop down from above as the voice of reason and totally straighten things out. And then other times, because I said this a little bit earlier, other times, Knight of Swords can be one of those saviors. Yes, he'll swoop down to save your life, but he might cut off a couple people's heads in the process of saving your life. And that's just collateral damage. That's Knight of Swords. He's an intense guy on an intense mission. And so the whole thing about knights in the world of tarot is that these are the guys that are on the mission. These are action-oriented energies in motion. And so when a Knight of Swords shows up in your life, Joanna LeBlanc, use your intensity. Whether it be to create, whether it be to protect, whether it be to communicate, use your intensity in a way that allows you to feel empowered and on the positive side of Knight of Swords, because it's really all about how you perceive this guy and how you feel when you get it. But he's not inherently negative and he's not inherently positive. He's about your internalized, most prevalent emotional condition. And so if you're in a stage of chaotic or kind of bitter intensity, he's going to show up and like, let's go all the way. And he's just going to bring it in all the way. But if you're in a different vibration, if you're in a more higher vibration, he's going to go all the way in that area. And the thing is, Knight of Swords does not hang around that long, you guys. All the knights, well, one of them will hang around forever as long as he has an incentive. That's a different guy. But Knight of Swords will swoop down for a little while. He'll handle his thing and then he'll take off. So he's not a permanent energy in your life, but he authorizes you to be intense, to use your intensity, to really harness the intense energies within you and use them for good or sometimes chaos. Because he doesn't care. That's the problem, or the beautiful thing about Knight of Swords. He doesn't care if you're negative or if you're amazingly, positive. He'll just bring the intensity either way you want to roll. And so, anyway, for Joanna LeBlanc and anyone else, Knight of Swords is rolling through. He's rolling through the party. Okay, here we go. We're going to go down to the bottom of the chat. Boom. Yes, we're going to do a couple more readings. Totally. Boom. Sin, how's it going? May I have a reading? Totally. Oh, thank you, Jeremy, for sharing this on Facebook. I actually realized this is actually on Facebook right now, but I forgot to click over and put it on, take it off of only me. So we've done this entire broadcast just on YouTube. But I also have to be real. Not that many people, not that many people on Facebook. Not that many people on Facebook will watch my live streams. I don't know why. It could be shadow banning. It could be other reasons. But Facebook is usually very, very dead for me. Maybe I shouldn't say that because it's going to get better. But yeah. I'd say Facebook as a whole, everyone knows this now, so we're not necessarily talking shit, but Facebook is it's definitely a dying social media entity. It's definitely on its way out, but thank you for sharing, Katie Cat. And so in the meantime, Sin, may I have a reading? Yes, you can. For the body, mind, spirit complex known as sin, we're just looking for advice, understanding, moments of activation. Okay, Sin. So within the energy body, if you're still here, there's I guess we could call a little bit of stagnation, maybe behind the knees, within the sort of within the lymphatic system, all the way down into like what we would call the groin, on the inner corners where the legs connect in there, a little bit of just lymphatic energy. And so when I say lymphatic energy, it doesn't mean that there's a problem. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. It's just, it's very easy for me to feel and tell where energy is gathered within the body. And sometimes when we do these readings, it'll go directly into tarot, and other times it'll go directly toward the energy body. So I want you to take it with a grain of salt. But it stands to reason that if you're able to start really kicking the legs, moving your body more, exerting yourself on a different level, you're going to experience a lessening of what feels like a bit of inflammation in the body, and maybe also a change within your mood. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because, every now and then we're looking really, really close with a magnifying glass onto something that's a much bigger picture. But it's just because that's the system that showed up, we're going to honor it. So a little bit of just lymphatic energy, lymphatic stagnancy, and as you move more, something's going to loosen up for you. But for the energy of sin, here comes a card. Oh, look, you got the devil. How cool. Now, first off, don't get weird about the devil, you guys. The good news is that facilitates another card, because I like to understand the energy of the devil on a greater level. So first off, this is for Sin and everyone else. But Sin, I don't want you to get weird about the devil, because once you learn about who the devil is or what the devil is in the world of multidimensional tarot, you will realize that it is definitely not a card of evil. It is not a card of, it's not a satanic energy, nothing like that. It's not like the old world devil, which is some evil force in your life. Actually, the devil is a very particular energy. It's something that we do to ourselves. It doesn't necessarily kill us. When you look at the symbolism of the devil, look what it is, you guys. It's just these naked people, and they're in a dark room, and they're trying to pull this treasure chest out of there, and you can tell it's chained, but they're not. And so they're trying to remove something. They're trying to pull something out of this dark hole that's never going to get there. It's never going to go. And the whole story behind the devil is that, like I just said, it's something that we'll do to yourself, but it comes in many forms. It can be, and actually, honestly, I'll tell you, in your case, Sin, if you're still here, it feels very much like negative self-talk within the mental body. Yeah, we looked at a little bit of lymphatic energy, but one of the easiest ways to understand the devil in your life, you guys, when you're doing tarot, is it comes in the form of something that we do to yourself. Now, each person will do a different thing. Sometimes people have big addictions or little addictions or negative outlooks in their life or behavior patterns that keep them small or hold them back or just keep them stuck in a place. I would say for Sin, it shows up, at least the way it shows up in the moment, is negative self-talk and energy of, honestly, we could probably clear gallbladder meridian, or just working with your gallbladder in general will sort of bring down the energy that will loop through your mind and cause you to get caught up in things that you can't change, or negative self-talk, or really anything that you do to yourself that's not helping you. That's one of the easiest ways to understand the devil. It never comes from an outside source. The devil doesn't victimize you in the world of multidimensional tarot. It's not an entity that comes into your life. So don't get worried, you guys. When you see the devil that rolls into your readings, don't worry about it. Look at it and go, okay, what part of this is mine, and what am I doing right now that could be holding myself back, keeping myself sick, keeping myself small? Self-sabotage is a big one that will come in with the devil, big time self-sabotage. And so it does not have to be a catastrophic energy. It does not have to be a sort of negative force in your life, but it's definitely, this is the awkwardest part of the whole thing about the devil, it's definitely you. And I don't say that at Sin. I'm saying that to everyone, you know what I mean? So don't worry, we're not going to define you. I'll define it as me. It's me. When I get the devil in my life, I'm like, oh shit, okay. Well, all right, I know I'm the one that's doing that. And sometimes it shows up in weird contexts, where you'll be in a positive framework, or you're trying to do something, in a high vibrational way, and the devil will sort of roll in. And when it does, sometimes it'll tell you that you're self-sabotaging, that you're holding yourself back, that you're sort of, we could be disrespecting our own sense of dignity and forward movement in this life by keeping ourselves small and stuck. And so anyway, totally. Somebody down there got it. I love you, girl. Devil reps, bad habits, behaviors, vices. Totally. You got it. She got the idea. And so thanks for rolling through. I already, you know what sucks? I forgot who that was for. Oh, that was for Sin. Thank you, Sin. Thanks for being here. We're going to grab the person right underneath. It was YO. Whoa, YO, you have a really cool thumbnail picture. For some reason, you guys, you know how like the YouTube AI will send you, video suggestions. They've been sending me video suggestions of owls living in these sort of outdoor like nests where they have cameras on them. I don't know why they keep sending me owls. And so it's cool that you roll in with a thumbnail that's an owl. Yeah, honestly, it was like some channel from Israel, and it was these people that just watch these owls in these nests, and they show all these birds that fly in, and honestly, the owls tear them up. Birds try to take over their nests and stuff, and like take their babies, and like the owls just kick them out. It's a really crazy thing. Turns out owls are pretty hardcore. Like they get like kind of violent. It's a trip. Very, very protective energy. Anyway. For YO, here we go. I can feel your third eye instantly, YO. And so even if you don't regard yourself as having a very open third eye, understand that the sort of the visions internally, your ability to daydream, your ability to visualize internally for you is growing a lot stronger. So don't mistake your third eye as something that you view in the outer world. And this is for anyone else that needs to get it as well. Just because as I feel into your energy body, the third eye like instantly was a pulse right here, which, here's the thing. It does not necessarily always mean that we're tuning in directly to you. When we do a public live stream like this, you'll definitely be able to grab onto a person's energy, but you have to also understand there's a lot of others around at the same time. And so it stands to reason that other people are going to be having the same type of just third eye activation that you're having. But it's important for you to lean into and sort of grab onto and allow the internal imagery and the sort of daydreaming process and really the realm of imagination for you, YO. It's like the realm of imagination is going to be really, really helpful. So cool. Oh, you drew it. Cool. Very, very, very cool. Good job. Seriously. We shall pull a card for YO. Thank you, YO. What's going on? YO. Boom. You have the first appearance of the Eight of Swords, which I think is another one where when people encounter Eight of Swords, they get a little worried and they're like, oh man, I was hoping for the Lovers or, like the Chariot or the Ace of Cups or, whatever it is. But the Eight of Swords is equally powerful and in many cases, honestly, a lot more helpful than getting these sort of symbols of like, universal joy and expansion. The whole thing about the Eight of Swords is that this is a mental body energy. And when it shows up in your life, there's certain things around you, within you, kind of in your environment that you might be overthinking, that you might be overanalyzing. And one of the terms we use for this is analysis paralysis. But when it shows up in your life, it's important to understand that you have the answers, that you have the knowledge, that you have the ability to kind of free yourself from any form of entanglement. Anything that may show up in your life is absolutely solvable with the Eight of Swords. But when a lot of people have it, they feel stuck. They might not know what to do. They might not know like what direction to go in. They might not know the right decision. And just know that it really authorizes you to pause, to generate silence, to sort of put down something that you've been turning over and chopping up over and over in your own way. You'll just literally put it down for a while. And you'll come back to it with a little bit, well, I shouldn't say a little bit, you'll come back to it with a different perspective. And it's funny that we were talking about your third eye, because look at the Eight of Swords. She might have to only be using her third eye. Where she is right now, she's got this blindfold on her. So here's the thing. It's kind of awkward. On one hand, there's going to be things going on in your world that you might not be aware of. And I have to say, it's not a tragic energy. There are cards of tragedy in the world of tarot. This is one of those ones that precedes a tragedy by a long distance. It never even has to get there. But there's certain things that she's not seeing. And so it could be said that the Eight of Swords must rely upon what they perceive in their third eye, so that they can, understand on a greater level why they've gotten themselves into what they've gotten themselves into. And, when I say what they've gotten themselves into, it doesn't have to be a very difficult situation, but it's really anything that you're overthinking, anything that you're just putting way too much mental energy into. Now, it's also one of the cards that does have a couple anatomical or channel related frequencies. One of those, like I mentioned earlier, is the gallbladder meridian, which is all about frustration and looping thought forms. Another one is the triple warmer meridian, which is about discernment, emotions that will get trapped in the body, and a bunch of other physical and non-physical things as well, but very much about discernment. And sort of, well, I could go on and on that one, but so yeah, it's both meridian and also chakra-based energy. But just don't overanalyze anything in your world right now, and you're going to find yourself moving through anything that feels stuck in record time. And really lean into what you perceive internally. Just honor what it shows you. It doesn't mean necessarily have to sort of act upon it, but yeah, monitor what shows up internally. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for showing up. Thank you, Soul Schooling, for hanging out with everybody. Appreciate you guys. I think we're going to do two more. We're going to grab this one. Boom. Pat, how's it going? Pat, looks like you got an Arcturian being on your thumbnail, or what is commonly described as some form of Arcturian energy, or who knows, because there's so many like Nordically depicted alien beings these days. I guess I feel Arcturian when I look at your thumbnail, and I feel into your energy. And yes, a big part of it is because of the thumbnail image that you chose to kind of show up with. It feels very Arcturian. Other people will call it Pleiadian as well. The fun thing about a lot of those beings and sort of star races is that they don't even call themselves that. We call them that. And it's very well understood by these races that we will refer to them as Pleiadian or Arcturian, when the reality is, I think just within the Pleiades alone, there's, well, I shouldn't say thousands, but I know there's several hundred different planets and realms contained within the Pleiades. And so there's all kinds of beings, good, bad, crazy, all. Anyway, in the meantime, for Pat, what's going on? Let's see. The mind, body, spirit complex known as Pat. Boom. Pat, you got the Hermit. This is the Hermit is definitely going it alone. And so maybe you yourself lately have been feeling pretty isolated or not a part of. Maybe you're looking for your tribe, for your team. Maybe you're trying to kind of push through certain things in your life in your own way. The Hermit can signal for some people what we call a dark night of a soul stage, or a chapter of your life where really your true mission is to go within, to understand yourself on a greater level, to sort of deprogram your experiences, to go into that dark hole within you and to come out with something new, come out a transformed being. Sometimes you'll do this for others with the Hermit. He can also be a very mystical being, and people will come to him for assistance to shine the light in their life. You notice he's holding that big lantern there. He's not lighting just his own way. He's lighting other people's ways as well, but he does it by getting in touch with himself first, by going all the way within the self. And so, Pat, I think really at this stage of your journey, it's about discovery of self. It's about, leaning into your internal world. It could be about, working on deep wounds from the past that are still healing, with an understanding that the deeper you can go, the more you're going to be helping other people with those in the future. And so the Hermit's a really, really good energy to have, you guys. He's also energy of the third eye. He's also energy of the solar plexus chakra. And really, when he shows up in your life, it's very appropriate for you to be going it alone, although sometimes he can be lonely on his journey. And so understand that it's not a permanent one. The Hermit is not a permanent energy. He denotes processes and chapters, which your best destination is within. And so I hope this finds you well. Thank you, Pat. I hope this finds you well. And so we're going to get another one. Boom. Sean McCarthy, how's it going? You grabbed me with all caps. But I think also because you asked earlier and I remembered your name. And so it could also be that. But thank you. And so we're going to pull a card for Sean McCarthy and anyone else who needs to receive this energy. We've done a lot of reading, so we'll breathe for a moment. Thank you, Sean McCarthy. We got some sacral chakra energy that rolls in for you. There may be creative energy that's available to you that you're not fully using in the moment. Sometimes we can become stagnated in the sacral chakra. Every now and then we can be in a weird sort of relationship stage where your vital energy is not being really used in the way that you'd like it to be. Sometimes that can be intimacy-based energy. Sometimes it can be companionship-based energy. But it's energy that seems to be coming from the sacral chakra, which is one of the primary fire centers in your body. So it stands to reason that there's something you can really create in the coming months, something fiery, something powerful. But develop it, allow it to show up. Work with the sacral chakra. I'll give you a sacral chakra mantra. Sacral chakra. See, I'm kind of getting caught up in it, but anyone can use it. It's very, very reliable. And when you use this, whether you're uttering it internally, or whether you're doing it out loud, it will literally vibrate the sacral chakra. And so I'm going to do it here just really, really quick. We're not going to dwell on it too long. But the idea is that it's going to help you harness more of your creative potential, your passion energy within the body, and also anyone else that can receive it. And then we'll pull a card for you. But so here's how it goes, you guys. It goes Ya, Vu, Ra. Ya, Vu, Ra. So I'm just going to do it one time, and we're going to send it right into the sacrum. That's right down there underneath the belly button, right? For a lot of women, it's within the womb space. For males, it will also be, within the reproductive energy region, or honestly within the prostate region as well. For men, or also kind of in the back. There's the sacrum within your back as well for both men and women. But anyway, here we go. And so we're just going to take a deep breath in, and I'm just going to do it one time for everybody out there. This is your sacral chakra. You guys will feel it. Some of you guys will get a little warm. Some of you guys won't feel anything at all. Some of you guys will feel a desire. It's not always, a big desire. It's just energy that's desirous to move in your body. So here we go. Let's take a deep breath in. Ya, Vu, Ra. That's for the sacral chakra. Anyway, good job, you guys. Thank you. Thank you for receiving that vibration, Sean McCarthy. Let's pull a card for Sean McCarthy. Boom. Sean McCarthy, you got the Four of Wands, which is a very cool energy. It's also one of the cards that will really have its own meaning to the beholder. When the Four of Wands shows up in your life, you're due for a new period of what we would call honeymoon energy, a positive stage or a new stage in an agreement, a dance, a coming together that you will have with another. And it's all about building structure and reliability in whatever this represents in your life. By understanding that Four of Wands starts out small, but it's reliable and it needs to grow. It needs to be built with structure and integrity. And as long as you're able to do that, you'll be able to do this dance. Sometimes it's with you and just by yourself. Sometimes it's with another. But it requires full participation in being utterly present in your world, and also really harnessing your fire, using your energy in a reliable, consistent way so that you can create something rather than just scatter it around in the world. And so it can also be very romantic. If that's a thing that you're looking for in your life, like I said, with a lot of these, some people have it, some people are avoiding it, some people deeply yearn for it. But it does also represent that if that's something that you're seeking. A lot of times people will see it and they'll know who and what it's about. So I want you to hold on to your own version of it. But this is an energy that allows you to build structure, reliability, enjoyability, and to go through a very positive era of, it's like a dance that you'll do with another in a really, really cool way. And there's a bunch of other meanings for it. It's almost like there was an alternate message that I was going to give you there. But There was actually another card, which is weird because we're kind of at the end, but there was another card that came out, it dropped. And so I'm also going to give it to you. It's probably it's going to overcomplicate this, but it's the first time today that like a card came out when I pulled one of them. So you also have an Ace of Wands. And once again, this is for Sean and anyone else who needs to receive it. But this is the energy of fire. And it's wild, Sean, because we just did a tone into the sacral chakra. This is literally that energy. For some people, they'll see it and go, that looks very phallic. Yeah, it's kind of designed that way. But this is the energy of pure fire, pure creation, pure wands. Wands are your passion. They're your fire. They're what you do with your hands. They're your career in some cases. Sometimes they're your job as well. But when it shows up, you're in a cycle. And everyone's in some form of a cycle of passion or creation or fire. But these are the big cycles. And so when it shows up, you have authorization to make really bold moves with respect to what you're passionate about, especially if you can identify the cycles that come around every few years or every so often. The Ace of Wands will show up in your life, and it really authorizes you to change a timeline, but you must be very bold. You really have to start doing the things where people would go, Sean, what? No, they wouldn't. Are you, oh, whoa, they did. Damn. And it's like, people will be impressed. People will see that. They will honor that you're moving into a new stage of your persona or just a new chapter in your life. But it's all about your fire, how you use it, your intimacy, what you do with it, the way it cycles through your life, the actions you take. And yes, it's also very sexual as well. I have to be real. It can be a very sexualized energy. And so you will have an increased power in those areas, and it'll be something that you'll need to use differently, so that you can take full advantage of the frequencies and the energy of wands that's available to you. Which, just so you know, you guys, the elemental energy of wands is fire. It's fire. And so I see Jenny Danielle. She saw it. Boom. Weird. When we did the mantra, I saw sunflowers. Maybe somebody knew. Honestly, I think Spirit knew that we were going to pull the Ace of Wands. And when I put my hand on the Four of Wands, it's like both of them came out together. So I don't know if you guys saw that. I tried to hide it when I put it down, because sometimes I'm like, oh, it's too many cards. And, but it came all the way out. And so we got an Ace of Wands as well. But yeah, I hope that finds you well, Sean McCarthy. Thanks for hanging out. And for everybody else, thank you for hanging out as well. Once again, why are we doing this very long-winded tarot-based live stream? It's because we're doing a tarot class starting on May 22nd. It's the Art of Multidimensional Tarot version 3.0. And we're going to be learning how to read every single card in the world of tarot and picking up a few spreads along the way so that you can use it in your own world, with your own healing, to kind of understand your own life, the energy of other people, what's going on. And some of you, and I say this for real, a couple people are doing like massive tarot readings after the second class. A couple of them have done readings for me as well. It blows my mind, but some people really, really use it. Other people use it to help understand themselves, but I invite everybody to take part in it. If you're part of our Patreon group, you can get a pretty good discount on the tarot class. So you can check it out as well, patreon.com/Blue Flame Collective. But yeah, and so May 22nd, we'll be rolling in to do Multidimensional Tarot version 3.0. Also, another thing, I've mentioned it many times and I'll mention it again, coming up May 2nd through 5th, we're going to be at the Secret Space Conference in Grafton, Illinois. And just in case anyone's within Grafton, Illinois area, I've never been there, so I have no idea what it's near, but it's very Midwestern, I guess. You can get a day pass now. You can just come for one day of the conference. And I do have to say, I'm definitely not speaking there. We're just running support. Nora and I are going to be doing sessions and just hanging out with everyone, which for me is kind of less stressful. So we'll see how it goes. We're really looking forward to being there with everybody. This will be the first time since December, I think that we did anything on a social level, or at least, yeah, maybe it was December. Oh, Lord, don't try to get me to talk about dates or months. It'll get weird, but please do check us out. Secret Space Conference. I saw a question in the chat. Do we have to be in Patreon to take this course? No, absolutely not. You can go to rememberyourmission.com right now and just look at events, or you can look at I think it's right on that first page. It's really just one page. and you'll see it there. And so you can sign up for that. And there's also time. You don't have to do it right now. We got a few people signed up already, and some of the people from our multidimensional or from the training group that are going to be there as well. I can tell you one thing. We're putting a cap on it this time. Not that there's a whole bunch of people that sign up. It's not like there's 100 people that go, although we would definitely welcome them. But we try to keep it reasonably sized. And so I think right now it's at 25 people maximum. And I think like seven of those spots are already taken. We might open up some more. Probably we will if people keep asking. Last year, a bunch of people showed up right before the class, and so we sort of opened up more spots. But yeah, we're going to be doing readings for 5 weeks in a row, learning everything about tarot, at least that I know, which, for some people is a cool thing. For others, it'll go totally against your understanding of the world of tarot. But I think that's the beautiful thing about our day and age, is that everyone gets to create their own version. And if you're willing to create your own version of whatever shows up, you're going to have much, much greater results from what you receive in the energy that you create. And so looking forward to seeing you guys there. Looking forward to seeing a few of you guys. In the meantime, we are going to be back this Saturday with the accidental show that I created. It's called Live from It. Well, they're all called Live from a Strange Realm. But this Saturday, we have Alicia Brachet of Cosmic Gateway. She's been doing some really cool work with not only space weather, but hybrid breeding programs, a number of alien beings. I've been mystified by her recent interviews, and the whole reason why I started this show is that I kind of just wanted to talk to certain people that I kind of viewed their energy, and I was like, whoa, that's a fascinating individual. I think I'm going to start doing conversations with them because, well, everyone knows, because I wasn't going on a lot of shows and I just felt bored, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to start creating my own version of it. And so we're doing that again this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern with Alicia Brachet. And so hopefully you guys will check it out. We're going to be talking a lot about aliens. A lot about alien stuff probably. But who knows? I usually go on a weird rant. And so in the meantime, thank you for being a part of this live stream today. Thank you for being here. All of the viewers that have hung out with us for this 2.5 hours. Thank you, Sin, as well. I see your comment in there. Hang in there. We've all had those weird breakdowns, myself included. If you're not breaking down in this life, in many cases, there's nothing to build back up. You know what I mean? So when it happens, allow it to roll through and just continue to build yourself the best you can. And in the meantime, we are going to be doing more tarot live streams, you guys, for real. We're going to do another one in the coming weeks. And we also have a regular meeting of our Patreon group on May 16th, which is a thing I should talk about more. I'm not always good at advertising all of our groups and stuff. So we'll be doing some more posting about it and probably a couple other live streams in the meantime. Check us out on Saturday. Please subscribe if you have not done so. And you can find us at rememberyourmission.com. But in the meantime, live from a strange realm, we're gonna roll on out the door awkwardly. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you again soon.